Good morning, everybody. And happy Easter. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next few hours, along with Mike.
Hey, hello. Good morning.
Good morning. And Spence is here.
Good morning, sir.
And Bruce is here.
He is risen. Good morning.
I don't think Bruce is the one we're talking about being risen today, are we? I mean, you have risen and you are here. Never mind.
Yes, I have risen in the Fairfield Inn Marriott in Melbourne, Florida.
It isn't a momentous occasion
where the
for all.
curtains are Android green.
Good green screen.
Yeah.
Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K voice on Skype. Oh, shoosh. Oh, never mind. I'll do it in a minute. I forgot to turn on the one for Steve, the other laptop. Oh. And
You're
the
fired,
show.
Amnon.
I'm fired. Yeah.
You're fired.
The show is being brought to you by that VidBlaster guy at vidblasterguy.com. Tom Sinclair.
Isn't it true that when Amnon makes a mistake, his cut is evenly divided amongst the rest of us?
Yes. No, he has to pay twice as much.
Oh, okay.
Oh, trust me, I'm paying. I went yesterday to Marshall. Drove down to Wilson to pick up some things. And I did like a little freezer, and I tied it on top of the pickup and kind of cornered myself there. So I decided I'm going to jump out. And when I jumped, my foot got hung in the rope and twisted my knee and been laying in bed since I got home with onion and salt on it.
Onion?
Next time we'll explain that.
You're planning to saute it?
Yeah, it is sauteed. But, yeah, it's something that happens it didn't happen now for almost 20-some years. So, I don't know.
Old you are getting, as Yoda would say.
I know. It was stupid. It was stupid what I did. But it happened, and that's it. Now it'll take a few days before it'll get back to normal.
So no marathons for the next few days, huh?
No marathons for the next probably months. Okay, so...
I'm thinking, but I'm not saying. It's from Muhammad Ali's days. Oh, why don't I say it?
Say
right,
it.
Spence? Rope-a-dope. He did the rope-a-dope. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
No. It's not. It only hurts if I'm trying to move it on its own. If I try to pick up my leg, it hurts. But if I pick it up, like sitting like this, it's fine.
You trying to pick up your leg? Did you leave it laying somewhere?
Yeah.
You go to the doctor and you say, "Doctor, it hurts when I do this." He says, "Don't do that."
Don't do that. So what's going on? Oh, and I forgot to say also, happy Passover. Should be the last day. Tomorrow. No, today. Yeah, today's the last day. So what's happening, guys?
Well, it's Cesar Chavez's birthday.
Oh. Well.
And Cesar Chavez is...
Really?
Room temperature.
You really don't know who Cesar Chavez is?
I have no idea who Cesar Chavez is. Sue me.
Well, I can tell you, if you're using Skype 6.3 and XSplit, it doesn't see XSplit, so you want to back off to do 6.1 instead. Something they did in the new Skype messed it up.
I've been avoiding upgrades on a lot of things lately.
Yeah,
because of the problems it's been creating for me.
Last week when I told Mike that you fixed your problem, and at this point I don't even remember what you had to do. Oh, it was the resident one was running it, right, Bruce? Yeah,
Right.
Mike mentioned, and I forgot to tell you that really what you need to do is put a little blog entry there about the experience.
Right.
But it was very interesting that the resident, even though it doesn't show, it was running, and that's why he couldn't do anything with the desktop installation. We figured out a way how to uninstall it.
I'm getting kind of annoyed with the constant Firefox and Java updates.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, aren't there?
I realize they're fixing problems or improving things, but my work machine has a lot of applications or a lot of add-ins that I need to run in the browser. And it's just every time I have to go through reinstalling them again and going through and adjusting and tweaking.
I tell you what's worse. This is the second time on this laptop in the last Sunday. No, it was Wednesday. Come up and say, hey, there is a Java update. Say, okay, go ahead and do it. And I forgot that I told it to go ahead and do it, and it didn't ask me to reboot. But I'm looking at it, it says, you already have the latest Java platform on this system. So why did you tell me there's a new one? But yeah, there's a lot. There sure are a lot of them.
And we have a web conferencing platform that we currently use that we're moving to the next generation of it that's out there now. But the current one that's in place, I had to host a web conference for about 35 people a while back. And I go to log in, everything's fine, right? But as soon as I log in as the moderator, crash. And it says, your Java version is not correct. And I was at the latest version. So didn't think too much of it, switched to somebody else's hosting. And then finally one day sat down and tried to figure it out. On the phone with IT for 2.5 hours to finally find out, the only version this works with is Java 6 release 14. And I'm like, do you realize how old that is? But that's the one that's currently installed on my work laptop. It is the only one that will work with web conferencing. So very strange, but only for the next month, and then its problems are supposedly finished.
Hey, Nick.
Good morning.
Hey, today no ads whatsoever in the paper. I mean no technical ads, I should say.
Really?
So I did the 3 main stores that actually published the day before. I've done them already for the specials, but I am currently working on Tiger Direct and Best Buy. Did not show up.
I'll tell you something else that's new on my end, and I almost hate to say it because, but I will make the point. My wife's Dell Inspiron, age 5.5, almost 6 years old.
Shame on you, Bruce.
Finally needed to be replaced.
Dinosaur. So
we were shopping for laptops, and of course, as you might guess, they were all Windows 8. We ended up settling on an Asus laptop, 15.6-inch screen, just an i3. It was perfect machine for what she needed. She liked it. It's really laid out nice. It's thin and lighter, of course, than her older laptop. But I was interested and concerned, so I tried to prep her for 2 days before we went shopping about Windows 8. And now I will tell you that I did install Start 8 on it from Stardock, so it boots to the desktop and everything else. But given that adjustment and given what she has to do on a laptop, she has migrated quite well to Windows 8. It's almost, kind of a transparent thing in the background. If she needs help, changing something in Control Panel, she always would ask me to do that. And so she doesn't have to worry about, where to find Control Panel and things like that. So it's been a good experience. We're real happy with the laptop. And I did install the remote desktop from Chrome. There's an extension or an app you can run in Chrome So if she ever has a problem, she can click on this icon and send me that number code, and I can, from here, log into her computer and help her with anything she needs. So it's worked out well.
It's interesting. In today's Office Max ad, they have an entire page of laptops with Windows 7.
Mm-hmm.
Now, well, go ahead.
No, I was very surprised as I went through this. I said, "Oh, here's a Windows 7. Oh, here's another one. Oh, here's another one." Yeah, and it's like 6 or 7 laptops, all running Windows 7. They're being clearanced out. Some of them are up to $320 off. i5, i3, i7s. They've got a 15.6-inch i7 with 8 gig of memory, 750 gig hard drive, Win 7, $559.
Bruce,
$240
yes.
off.
What would happen? What do you think would happen if you didn't put Stardate?
Well, I had already had her sit down in front of my computer. I mean, she would have. What I would have done is, basically the only other program she runs besides the browser is like Picasa, because she does a lot with photographs and things. And I would have installed Picasa, and when it booted to the tiles, she would see the Picasa tile there, and she would click on it and run it. I showed her how to close apps and how to open them. Once she clicked on the Chrome tile for the Chrome browser, it would have been the same experience that she's used to having. So, but I just thought that I would start her out with just booting to the desktop.
Okay.
Now this is for her. I mean, for somebody who's used to finding control panel and PC settings in one location, it is more of an adjustment. But for her, it wasn't, because she doesn't do those things.
Now, any reason why? I mean, Stardate is not free.
It's $4.99,
right.
I think. But there is a free open source one out there. But
is the one that I've been installing on people's computers with Windows 8 is Classic Shell.
Mm-hmm.
Did you use that?
No.
I'm wondering if anybody did. What's the difference between them? Why is one preferred over the other? I know that with Classic Shell you can right click on it and say I want it to look like Windows 7. I want it to look like XP, I believe, or Vista. You can make it.
You mean no ME option?
What about Windows Bob? I have a Windows Bob option.
I mean, really, if they're going to throw in a Vista option, might as well throw in an ME option.
But it's interesting, and the button is like, it reminds me of the Shell Oil logo, but in the 4 colors. So I was just wondering if there's any difference.
Is Classic Shell free?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it might be interesting. Put the link in the chat for that.
I think it's just Classic Shell.
Mm-hmm.
.org or something like that. I'm not sure. Somebody look it up. It's just called Classic Shell. So
no, my motel room air conditioner just came on. Could you hear that?
I can't.
I can feel it.
Mike, the only one who will be able to hear something will be Mike, I think.
Well, I'm listening on a small speaker, so I cannot hear it through my small speaker. Anyone listening through headphones can probably hear it.
Yeah, I hear it a little bit. Not bad, though.
I can feel the vibration, Bruce.
Can you tell what the thermostat is set to? Then you would be the great Kreskin.
67 degrees.
No, 72. You lose.
Some like it hot.
Hey, to tell you another good thing, I drove down here this time instead of flying because I brought my granddaughter with me to spend her spring break with her other grandparents, and they live just 30 minutes north of where I come every month. So I rented a car instead of flying down and then renting a car down here. And so I do my normal rental for a compact. The company I work for, reimburses me for that, and I don't try to stick them with a a Park Avenue or some other big car. So it would have been normally a Ford Focus, but this time they rented me, and this is not necessarily a great car, but it's a Dodge Avenger RT. I mean, the one with the racing stripes on the seats in the car, dual exhaust, really hot little car for a little road trip. And I have to say that Dodge has done a really good job with their Bluetooth and media syncing setup there. It was the first time I'd had to set up and pair a phone with their system, and it was quite intuitive, and we enjoyed all kinds of Pandora radio. I even watched, I have an iAudi car mount that I've talked about before, so I had my beautiful Samsung Galaxy Note mounted landscape on that mount, and my granddaughter watched the Transformer movie that came free with the Note 2, and it was playing through this incredible sound system in this car. I know on the speakers it said Boston Premium. I don't know what that means, but it was fun, and was able to stream that HD movie over data all the way down.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
He had it set up.
I couldn't watch it while I was driving.
Yeah, I know, but
set up like right in front of you on the windshield.
Right on the dash, yeah.
That's right. You could set it up, and what you should do is you should be looking at the screen and be driving through the camera on the phone. That's.
Spence, you did something to your audio. It sounds like the WMV recordings. If I record in WMV, it sounds like it's got pops in there. It's not microphone pops. It's like something.
Computer interrupt pots.
Yeah,
pops.
And that hasn't been there before.
And the echo is back too.
Let me run Task Manager.
I don't know. It's just kind of strange that it's coming from you. Yeah, I hear the echo. I heard the echo right there. The U.S. Senate passed a non-binding proposal to allow states to collect sales tax on internet sellers that have no presence within their border. The proposal was an amendment to the 2014 budget bill that the Senate debated Friday. It was pushed by Senators blah, blah, and blah, blah. Mike N.C.,
and
Wyoming.
Seconded by Senators Wah, Wah, and Wah,
Yeah,
Wah.
and Dick Durbin of Illinois, and was designed to give backers a sense of whether they had enough votes to push forward with final legislation to impose an internet sales tax. The vote showed they have plenty of backing to overcome any filibuster seeking to block the final sales tax bill. What a mess this is going to create. I mean...
Do you really think they care, Amnon?
You think that's going to stop them?
Right now, if you pick up the phone, never mind internet, put internet aside. If you pick up the phone and you call a store in Virginia from North Carolina and you order something and they ship it, you don't pay tax. Sales tax. Because it's from out of state. So this is going to change too. It has to, because it can't be just on internet.
Think about what's going to happen now to the individual small retailer who sells online, will have to collect tax for 50 different states.
Right. And send it to 50 different states.
Yep. But wait. Maybe the government is here to the rescue. Maybe we should just have a national sales tax, and that way we only have to send it to Washington.
And then, but I was talking about this with somebody the other day. Don't bet that they won't think of having it in addition to local sales tax.
Oh, no doubt.
No, it's not like it's going to replace it. It's going to be in addition to. Either that or they'll take over how states get funded.
It's ridiculous.
Gotta pay for that free health care.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
We're not in Canada.
Oh, yeah, I know, but we're getting free health care.
And it was supposed to cost $2,500 less a year for each family.
Talking about Canada.
There's no doubt in my mind that the internet tax is going to happen because the government is so addicted to money. They're going to do everything in their power to get as much of it as they can, and this is within their power.
Hey, I'll make one comment since I'm in the healthcare, business. There's a whole lot of people out there that think I'm going to get free health care. I'm going to be able to go to the doctor and the hospital and not have to pay anything.
I heard it,
wrong.
Bruce. I heard it. No, I heard it on the news.
There's a gold, silver, and bronze plans that you'll find in these state exchanges come 2014. The only programs that are qualify for government subsidy for people of lower income, and it's a lot higher than what you'd think, is the bronze plan. And the bronze plan is only a 60% program. So if you go into the hospital, you have a $100,000 bill. Plan's only going to cover $60,000 of that. You're going to be left with $40,000 of that. There are going to be a whole lot of people that are really, really surprised. Healthcare premiums are going to continue to skyrocket.
Yep.
What's bad for the country, though, has been good for our business. We're writing over 1,000 applications a month with what we do. We're exempt, and this is not a commercial for what I do, and I'm not going to tell you what I do. But people are going to be really surprised. And how it's going to affect the economy. And to your point, you're exactly right. They're going to have to do something unless we get some folks who can grow a pair and put a stop to some of this waste.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, too many people out there looking at the government as Santa Claus, right?
You can't do it because let's touch this and get off of it because there's some people who always send us hate mail every time we start using common sense. But the problem is that you look at this sequester when there was not even a cut. All it was a reduction in the increase. The media goes out whining about, they're cut. There were no cuts. It didn't get cut. All they were doing was reducing the rate of the increase, and you would think the world came to an end. They shut down tours at the White House. And the one golf outing that Obama had with Tiger Woods would have funded the jobs at the White House for the tours for an entire year.
Right.
It's not about the money. It's about the priorities. And it's not just Obama. Every president does the same thing. And the political system is completely broken.
Well.
And let it be known, we tied that to a text story of sales tax. And I think it's a worthy tie-in. So pushing in the clutch and moving on.
We mentioned, one more thing about it. You know who's going to pay for it?
Yeah.
Nick!
Our grandkids.
Nick is going to pay for it.
That's exactly right.
Thank you, Nick.
We appreciate it.
Actually,
you're welcome.
I think it's not so much that they're going to pay for it, is that not where they pay. They're going to pay for it in lifestyle. They're going to pay for it in the quality of life. They're going to pay for it in diminished and lowered expectations.
Well, let me comment on that. I was thinking that until about 2 weeks ago, and I really don't think that's exactly the way it's going to work out because Nick will never see the freedoms that we have had. He will not miss the freedoms that we would miss under the new system. At some point, Nick's generation and younger, Nick's kids are going to have to say, you know what, that's enough of this stuff. We're going to have to change this. And if there's anything left to change, they're going to have to get out and change it. That's going to be their responsibility. These things are cyclical. Every 200 years or so, countries go through the same cycles we're going through. Mm-hmm. And they're just going to have to make up their mind. If they don't like it, they're going to have to change it. The beautiful part about it and the reason for optimism at this point in time, I think it's fair to say that at least the political system in this country can be changed without having to pick up a gun. In many countries, you can't change things without a gun because they don't have the political infrastructure to allow you to do that. Now the things are not necessarily good, but they can be changed at the ballot box, and that part is the good news. But I will make one political comment, and I really do think we need to get off of this.
Okay.
But the one comment I think that I will make is, and this is something that has been preached to me for the past 37 years, And that is that when people of Nick's age and younger find out what this government has done to this country, the people in the country are going to grab a rope and head to Washington and to hang one at a time each one of these politicians who have done to this country what they are doing to it. And the reason the government wants to take guns away from people is because when they head up there with their ropes, they don't want them to be able to defend themselves. Now we can move on.
919-518-9773. Computers 2K voice on Skype. And we mentioned Canada. The Supreme Court of Canada has ruled that text messages are private communications. Official ruling. And therefore, police are required to get a warrant to get access to the text messages of private citizens. The CBC reports that Supreme Court Justice Rosalie Silverman Abella said that the only practical difference between text messaging and traditional voice communications is the transmission process. This distinction should not take text messages outside the protection to which private communications are entitled. That's what she wrote.
Now, guess what that does now to the whole compliance side of it. Good luck.
What?
Trying to enforce that and trying to make that throughout the system. How is that going to work? How are you going to enforce it? How are you going to fix things that don't work? How are you going to prosecute?
That's not her problem.
That's exactly. She doesn't care.
Right. But it's nice that finally they're beginning to have some kind of privacy. From what I hear, it's a milestone.
No, I think it's more like a brick.
Well, okay.
And it's being thrown through the window. I'm not saying I don't agree with the privacy side of it, but just to come out and just this is like an example of just, oh, this is a great idea. Let's do it. But let's never think about the unintended consequences or what it's going to cost.
But I mean, it's true that there is no difference between voice communications and text messaging. It's just how you deliver it. It's being delivered in a different way. So it should be the same.
Well, I think there's a cultural difference.
I also think that a lot of people would have kept their job if government could not get into their text and see, oh, he wrote that girl something. That's inappropriate.
Well, but you're talking about the Wiener thing?
There are a few of them.
Right, but I mean, that was his stupidity. There was no...
I understand.
He posted it on a public...
Yeah.
It wasn't a private message.
That was not a privacy issue.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He did it. He was stupid. He is stupid.
Oh, I forgot that I was doing it to the
world.
To the world and not just to her directly, so...
Now, Mike, here's something for you, your end.
Uh-oh.
Google has announced the Open Patent Non-Assertion, OPN, pledge. In the pledge, Google says that they will not sue any user, distributor, or developer of open source software on specified patents unless first attacked. Under this pledge, Google is starting off with 10 patents relating to MapReduce, a computing model for processing large data sets, first developed at Google. Google says that over time they intend to expand the set of Google patents covered by the pledge to other technologies. This is in addition to the Open Invention Network and their general work toward reforming the patent system. The patents covered in the OPN will be free to use in free open source software for the life of the patent, even if Google should transfer ownership to another party. It appears that interaction with non-copyleft licenses, is that a type copyleft?
Mm-hmm.
MIT, BSD, Apache is a bit weird. If you create a non-free fork, it appears you are no longer covered under the pledge. But that's, I mean, not being a professional in this thing and not understanding it sounds good.
It's a non-story.
Really?
Yep. Companies all the time release things open source because remember or know that the purpose of a patent is to acquire the ability to exclude others from making, practicing, selling your invention. Doesn't give you an exclusive. It gives you the right to exclude others. There are some technologies that benefit a company by being practiced by more people instead of fewer people. If Google identifies some inventions that they would like to see to be developed or crowdsourced or spread among the great unwashed and developed further, if the only reason they would do it is because they see a long-term benefit that they do not see by keeping the technology within their own domain. I mean, that's the short answer to the question. I mean, they're not doing it for any altruistic reason. They're doing it because they think they're going to benefit from it.
Oh. Okay.
But still, I mean, I'm not criticizing what they're doing. I mean, not everything needs to be covered by a patent. Certain things need to be put out there and developed further. It's good for technology. And if you came to me and said, I want to file a patent, I said, okay, who do you want to not be able to do this? Well, normally to justify the cost of the patent application, you'd say, well, I don't want anyone to be able to put this device on the market. I want to be able to exclude everyone in the United States from putting this on the market. And I said, well, what if somebody from another country wants to practice it in Europe? Well, I don't have enough money to stop them from doing that. So you then file a patent application. And think about this in terms of those predetermined technologies. And those technologies, if Google finds you infringing one of their patents, it's going to cost them $2 to $5 million to come after you. So if the technology, if one of these preferred technologies or designated technologies is not going to generate $20 million worth of income for them, it's not worth them spending $2 to $5 million to be able to defend that patent. They've got better things to do with their time than stay in patent court all the time.
So they're doing something that sounds good, but it's really, in reality, it's not such a big deal?
You know, I'm not even really saying that, because some good things come. The open source community, I see this quite often where particularly universities who are very aggressive about trying to out-license their intellectual property, they will designate certain projects up front as being public domain or open source projects because it's research that needs to be done. It results in a patent or intellectual property. Actually, it doesn't go to the patent phase, that they think that society as a whole will benefit better by it being available to everyone for free, as opposed to the university being able to use that patent to generate licensing revenue. And what that generally means is that it has broader based application. It may not be directly in the market that they want to pursue. I'll give you an example of what that means. Let's suppose that Bruce comes up with a patent for a new type of... Do you golf, Bruce?
Not recently. I used to golf a lot, but I haven't golfed much in the last 5 years.
All right. Well, do you mountain climb?
I do trail hiking. I climb mountains, but
all right,
not.
I'm looking for something that you never do.
Oh, that I never do.
Recreationally. Do you ride motorcycles?
No, I have, but I don't.
Okay, so let's just assume for the purposes of discussion that Bruce comes up with an invention that would be very attractive to the motorcycle community. Now, at this point, he has to decide, does he want to get into the business of manufacturing, marketing, selling, fulfilling orders for a particular motorcycle invention? If he can make $1 million doing it, it's probably worth the trouble. If it's something that motorcycle riders would say, wow, this is neat, and they might sell a few thousand of them, and he says, you know what, I'll just help out. There's some good people who ride motorcycles. I'm just going to help them out. I'm not going to file a patent application to protect this. And it even goes further. So, and then he has this motorcycle invention that, as soon as it's released, now he gets a lawsuit from Harley-Davidson because it's very similar to something on their motorcycle that he didn't know anything about. Now he's going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars defending himself against an infringement action from Harley-Davidson when it comes to a match of wits with regard to money. I wonder who's going to win that one.
Yeah.
So anyway, all I'm saying, that's the long answer to the question, in that it's not necessarily a bad thing what they're doing, but I think my real point is that I think there's a lot of PR filtered in with that.
Okay.
I'm not big on Google today. If you go to google.com, you might be interested in seeing how they acknowledge the Easter holiday for 2 billion people in the world.
The what?
If you go to google.com, you know how they will put various themes on their homepage for events like Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Right.
You notice how they acknowledge the Easter holiday.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay.
Cesar Chavez.
Yep.
I still don't know who that is.
Well, look him up.
He was a activist for migrant workers. And unfortunately, well, depending on your political leanings, you would consider him a hero or a terrorist. So
the point is he's controversial, and I don't care what he's done, good or bad. I think that upstaging the Easter holiday is despicable.
Yeah, that's not right.
So that's sort of like a Che Guevara?
Yeah.
I didn't think he was still alive. It says this is his 86th birthday.
He died in 96 or something, I think.
thought he was dead. Yeah, I thought that was true.
I think he's still dead.
Still.
There's a lot of that going around. Permanent death. Hey, I have a new a technology story, a personal story.
Is that going to fit in here? Is that going to fit here?
Sure. No, I purchased the new Brother two-sided scanner, USB scanner. The DS Mobile 700D, which is USB powered. I got it. Actually, I went, and I apologize to Office Max because I looked at it at Office Max, and they wanted $149 on sale, and Amazon also wanted $149 on sale with free shipping and no tax. So I wound up ordering it through Amazon. I'm one of those damn trolls that they hate that go into the store. Did you hear about there's a retailer that's actually going to start charging people to come into their store? And if they buy something, they'll subtract that charge off. But if they come in and look and don't buy anything,
and then they'll go out of business.
Ask them to pay.
You're toast. Who do you know who it was?
I don't remember. No. I just heard about it. I just heard the story mentioned.
They had one time here in Raleigh. Gosh, I guess it was 10 years ago. It's been that long, I think, since I've looked for a new car. But went to Raleigh and went to a car dealer, and you walk in, and my brother was in there looking for something. And the guy said, we'll be glad to talk with you about a car, but we require a $100 good faith deposit to be able to talk with you.
Wow.
How long did that last?
I think it took 30 seconds to get out the door.
Yep. But this scanner, it comes with some software, and I think that might be one of the reasons why I shut down a bunch of applications that were running on the taskbar that were applications for the scanner. So is my audio better now?
Nope.
It's still doing the same.
Still choppy? I bet you it could be driver issues. I installed this yesterday or 2 days ago, and this could be affecting the...
Nick, you were saying something when Spence was mentioning that scanner.
No, it wasn't.
Or maybe the shopping thing.
Oh, no, I just said if retailers start charging people to come in and look at stuff in the store, they'll just go out of business. Because nobody's going to pay to walk into a store to look at something. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Absolutely.
But,
and you know what they're saying the reason for this is?
It costs money to have tire kickers come in?
No.
What?
The reason for it is to stop people from coming and shopping and looking and holding the product and then go home and order it online.
Well, why don't they, instead of complaining about it and instead of saying that we're going to charge you, why don't they just be more competitive?
Yeah.
Then you don't have to deal with people.
Absolutely.
Well, there's a problem with that because a brick and mortar business has overhead that an online retailer doesn't have.
Yeah.
How is
A
that?
lot of these online
You can look at that
retailers,
in two different ways, though. I mean, this brick and mortar store pays for having the lights on stuff, but then you got to look at Amazon. They have all the warehouses and everything like that, and on things that have free shipping. I mean, they're covering all that.
yeah, but a lot of these deals are drop ship where Amazon isn't maintaining the warehouse. They just contract with somebody else who does.
Actually, that's not true, Spence.
No, that is true. A lot of the stuff is resold through Amazon by other companies.
But
not
not
doubting
all.
that. I'm not doubting that, but for example, if you if you look at when you place an order with Amazon, do you look at the return address to see where it's shipped from?
Yes, I see who sells it.
Right. And I guess maybe it has to do with your buying habits, but 90% of what I buy from them comes from their Lexington, Kentucky warehouse.
Yeah, that's the same thing for me in New York.
I do buy, because I have Prime, and I buy a lot of things that come from third parties that do not, they come in an Amazon box, but it's not sent from Amazon.
Oh, I get a lot of things that are sent directly from Amazon.
I mean, let's see, I buy a lot from Amazon. Let me think now. Maybe 40 or 50% of the stuff that I buy some oddball stuff.
Well, no, and I can understand that. I mean, I don't doubt that because, I mean, a lot of the stuff you buy third party, particularly if you buy anything used, that rarely comes from Amazon. And
this is new stuff. This is new stuff, but more and more stuff is being carried by Amazon that you would not expect, like auto parts,
food.
But people have heard of RockAuto.com, which is an extremely successful online auto parts that started out. I've been ordering from them for probably 5 years or more.
Never heard of them.
They're showing up now as an Amazon fulfillment agent. You can buy from Amazon, and it's shipped through Rock Auto.
Well, Amazon is the Google of products, though, right? I mean, I don't know how you are, but when I get ready to buy something, I either go to Google. Well, until today, I either go to Google first or Amazon first. And it's not always one or the other. It's kind of a flip between the two because even I was looking for something this past week on Amazon, and the search term was such that it brought up the parts list for some, I don't remember what brand, it was either a Dell or a Lenovo computer. I mean, all the way down to replacement battery cover screw. That you normally would go to eBay for someone who's dissecting a computer and selling the parts. But they even had the part down to that level of granularity listed on Amazon.com. It's amazing what all they must be carrying or have access to.
I think what they're doing is a really good job of incorporating in other businesses. So if they meet their model and they apply their standards and they can do the fulfillment and that's the genius of it. It's just that they can do it so well.
Well, did you read this week about Walmart's new technique to try to compete with Amazon with their customers as delivery men idea?
Sure.
Do you think it has merit?
Well, tell them what it is, Bruce, because I think it's funny. I'll tell you what my first comment was, that it's a shoplifter's paradise, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, it could be. But basically, they're looking to try to compete with Amazon's quick delivery service. The idea would be to involve shoppers dropping off packages for online customers who live on their route on the way back home. So the retailer would offer these shoppers a discount on their shopping bill in exchange, and basically that would cover the cost of their gas in return for the delivery of the package. For delivering these packages to people that are in their area. So it's kind of interesting. I mean, it remains to be seen how it will work. Right now I think it's hypothetical, but the fact that they're even talking about it really shows how serious a threat Walmart considers Amazon.
I have a better idea. They ought to get all the guys that deliver pizza and put them to task delivering stuff for Walmart at the same time. They're out there driving around. Jimmy John's delivering sandwiches, right? Just contract all these guys.
All right.
But can you imagine, how do you vet these people out? What's your name? John Smith. I'll be happy to deliver packages for you.
Hired.
Where do you live? Where do you want me to live?
Where do you work? Oh, I work for. I look for Lynchburg Pawn Shop.
This is the idea that I have behind it. So I'm delivering a package to Mike, right? So I successfully get it to Mike's door, and then Mike calls Walmart and says, "Hey, I never got the product." I mean, this is just, we've got patent trolls. This is like another thing. You could have shipping trolls. I mean, you order a product, it gets delivered to your house, and you call Walmart and say, "Hey, I never got this. The guy never dropped it off." I mean, it just
right. There's no tracking.
No, there is nothing at all.
I bet they could do something with smartphones or, some type of take a picture of the person accepting the package or something. They could do something creative like that. There would be some verification code that says that you go to the person's house and the deliverer scans a piece of paper that it was the delivery order, and then it registers back saying delivered.
Now, I'm going to say this, and I do not mean it to be inflammatory, and I'm not trying to be funny. I'm dead serious, no pun intended when I say this, but wait until a customer gets shot at someone's home because the person confused them with an intruder. Or if you're in the UK, get stabbed with a knife.
Like I said before, how do you vet the people who are going to do this? What screening process will they have to go through in order to be accepted as a delivery person?
Well, more power to them. Hats off to them for trying to be creative. I'm all for that.
It's going to be a problem, though, that increasingly things at Walmart are out of stock in the store anyway.
Yes, I had that happen yesterday.
Like what? What were you looking for, Nick?
A micro SD card.
Well, that's their claim to fame, though, right?
No, but I have an interesting story about a retailer.
Go for it.
So Staples. So I went to Staples Friday night to get a micro SD card. I brought it back for my tablet. I brought it home. It didn't work. So I'm like, all right, that's fine. Now it's broken. I bring it back to Staples. So I go yesterday morning. I go back to Staples, exchange it, get another one, bring it home, another one. I get another broken one. So now I'm just irritated beyond belief because Staples isn't right around the corner. It's like 15, 20 minutes away. So I go, I start tweeting at them and all this and that, and I go to Target because Target's closer, and I get some Chinese knockoff, SD card, and it works fine. And yes, go ahead.
No, go.
And their Twitter team gave me a $20 or $30 voucher to spend at their store because I was just tearing them apart. And I thought that was interesting that they seem to respond to a tweet more than they respond to going into their store and actually talking to them.
None of what I'm saying is to defend them, but these companies are so large, they can't get down to the consumer level at every point. That's the argument for the mom and pop shop. When you go and you know whom you're dealing with. I mean, Staples is so big their left hand doesn't know what their right hand's doing.
Yeah. No, I will agree with that, yes. But I found it interesting that going into the store at 2 times telling them that, hey, I bought 2 of the same micro SD card and both of them are broken. And they're just like, oh, we can exchange it and give you another one. But then when you get on them on Twitter, they don't want the bad press.
What was the card for?
My tablet.
Are you sure it's not an incompatibility with the brand?
Yes, I'm positive. Because it had a micro SD adapter to go into a PC, and the PC wouldn't read either of them.
Oh, that's a good test.
Multiple PCs.
So how about this solution? Anybody that wants to qualify for the Walmart customer delivery thing has to first of all have an Android phone. It has to have NFC in it, and any person who wants their products delivered that way has to have an NFC tag stuck on their door, and then the deliverer takes his Android phone when he gets there and he taps it, and it shows that he was there and it was delivered.
So you have to be an Apple hater to be a delivery person for...
Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of Apple hater, there is a really, really funny new Apple fanboy tweaking video that came out on YouTube this week.
I knew I shouldn't have said that.
It's by a company It's called, was it BC Cider that produced this? I'll see if I can find it again.
By the way, the reason no one ever watches our show anymore is there's some sort of Apple podcast coming from New Hampshire that everybody goes to now on Saturday mornings.
What was if you don't want to say the name, can you send me in chat?
I don't remember where it was, but let me see if I can find it. It was really,
we were just talking about it the other night, too.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. Mac Geber or something. I don't know what it was. Mac. I'll find it while Bruce is doing his thing.
No,
I'll find it.
And then remember we looked up their Alexa ranking, Mike?
Yeah, it was non-existent.
Yeah, they didn't have one.
Sorry, Bruce, I didn't mean to distract you.
I wanted to quickly finish up on the scanner, why I brought it up. I'd use a scanner to scan in old photographs. All different sizes, all different quality, all different material. And I was using an old scanner, Logitech, which was actually made by a company called Storm. It had a nice little individual feed scanner like this. You see these in doctors' offices now, or in reception areas where they want to scan in your medical cards and identification and things like that. But it will handle smaller objects very well. And the problem I had with the Storm scanner was that there were no drivers for Windows 7. And so I kept a Windows XP machine alive a lot longer than I needed to, so I had a way to scan. So I saw this, and I said, I'm going to give this a shot, because I was using OrphanView to do batch scanning, which does a really good job of scanning, assigning. You select the file name, and you can say, give me file name like the date, and then add a 1 to it, add a 2, it would automatically cycle or advance the number of the file name. So you could create a folder with a date and all the kinds of information, family photo this day 1, family photo this day 2, and it would just advance it each time you scanned a new picture. So it came with all this other software, which was nice, but not suited for scanning individual photographs in succession. But using it with OrphanView does exactly what I wanted it to do, just the same way as I did with the old scanner. Actually, one less step, which is good. So very happy with it. And it's two-sided. It's automatic two-sided scanning. They had two versions, the slightly cheaper version and this one. So I chose to get the one that was automatic duplex scanning. Good stuff.
Keep going. I'm doing something.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of NFC, I really have enjoyed this. I bought these tags. My Samsung Galaxy Note came with 5 that they sent me after the fact as a promotion, these Samsung Tactiles. But I ordered these from another company. I really like them a lot. They're a lot firmer. But so I've got a NFC tag that's stuck to my iAudi car mount. As soon as I go out to the car, I tap that. Wi-Fi turns off. GPS turns on. Bluetooth turns on. Navigation program starts. And there's a lot of other things you can do with that. And there's some really, really great apps for, I think NFC Task Manager is absolutely the best one. It's free. And then I've got one of these on my desk at home. So when I come home, get out of the car, come home, tap it down there, turns the Wi-Fi on, turns the Bluetooth off, turns the GPS off, and it's maybe start Pandora or whatever. I've got one on my nightstand that automatically sets my alarm and sets the volume levels for different things and turns off notifications, things like that. So, and NFC, contrary to what I was wondering earlier, and I found out from somebody who knows, it doesn't. It's not like a program that's draining your battery running in the background. It's just totally inert until you tag another tag. So if you're fortunate enough to have an Android phone and have NFC, I recommend you explore the options.
What underlying technology does you use? Is it Bluetooth? Is it near field?
It's near field, NFC, near field communications. Mm-hmm.
My audio made it sound like you were saying NSB.
No.
That's why I was like tilting my head a little bit, saying, "Did I hear that right?" Then again, my hearing is.
Thanks to you, Mike. I'm getting all kind of tweet responses, Facebook responses, and Google pluses and shares from the Hugo Chavez Google.com story. So
you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
How are they trending?
100% in agreement.
Yep. As inappropriate.
Well, that's preaching to the choir, though, right?
Well, there's a lot of people that I, especially on Google Plus that I follow who.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
Okay, I found that, Nick. I found it.
Yes.
It's MacGeekGab.com. MacGeekGab.com.
All right. Are they live?
I have no idea. I just read this incoherent tweet that I got last week. It's Mac Geek Gab is where the Sunday podcasting crown, I think that meant crowd, goes to now, Mike. Me and this other guy are there now. There each and every week. This was sent at 10:02 last Sunday, so it must be live now.
Well, I don't think it's live. I mean, unless there's a hidden link on their site. I don't see anything about live.
I don't know. I listened to the playback, and I made it about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I made it like 10 seconds.
So what kind of content were they talking about? Was it general news or just?
Oh no, it was just stuff that Mac people would be interested in. Nobody else would know what they're talking about.
Like dual core,
Nick, you were going to say
dual core computers in a quad core world.
8-core world.
Isn't that a song? I thought that was a song.
I don't know.
Did anybody see the article or see the story about how Microsoft has finally approved a cheaper version has approved a lower resolution tablet as acceptable for Windows RT? Apparently, I didn't realize this until I read this article that when Windows 8 and RT were first launched, they required OEM manufacturers to have a minimum 1366 by 768 display, which created a cost point that raised the price of these devices. So they finally have come up with a approved version that's 1024 by 768 to compete in the 7 and 8 inch market. But the interesting part about the article, which I'll just read quickly here, it said it's taken almost 6 months, but Microsoft has finally given the green light to low-resolution 7 and 8-inch Windows 8 tablets. It said Microsoft Windows RT woes continue with supply chain rumor that RT will be merged with Blue, which is the next generation, due to the almost complete lack of consumer interest. Most of the stories highlight how poorly Microsoft is doing in the tablet market, which if we factor in Windows Phone continued apathy and the steady decline of the desktop PC market is a very big issue for Microsoft. So they said there's a good reason why the iPad Mini and Kindle Fire HD are lower resolution devices. It's to keep the price down. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, but they use Microsoft tablets on NCIS. Have you happened to see that?
I see it on a lot of shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and it does everything. And it does it seamlessly. Yeah, I find that pretty funny. I wonder what kind of a support team from Microsoft they have to have around to get all that stuff to work. Very interesting.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, yes.
Let's tell everybody again what you do with Roku.
I make Roku apps. Do you want me to explain what a Roku is?
Yeah, well, no, just tell them.
Okay, so if you're not familiar with the Roku is an Apple TV. It's kind of like an Apple TV with a very strong third-party developing market out there. It's basically it's a standalone box. You hook it up to your TV, you connect it to the internet, and then you have a marketplace similar to something like iOS or Android, and you can download apps, for different things like sports and games and Netflix and Hulu and all those other things. And I'm currently developing apps for internet broadcasters and podcasters.
And you're doing that as a side business, right?
Yes, I'm doing that. I guess you could say part-time.
And what would you use the Roku for in this case, as for podcasters? Are you using it as a to stream through the device, or are you actually using it to stream to other people?
No, it's capturing the like for this show, it's capturing the live audio feed, so you can if you're doing stuff around the house, you can load up the app and listen to the show live. Or if you missed last week's show, you can go on there and then listen to the show from last week.
Oh, so it's taking advantage of the Roku back end to find content.
Yeah, and it's using RSS stuff to pull video files and all that stuff.
I have a Roku hooked up to the TV in my office right here, and I'm very happy with it. I also have an Apple TV. I use both, but I was noticed that the new Roku, which replaced, I had the high end one, but the new high end one has some pretty nice new features.
Yes, it definitely does.
Yeah.
That's a Roku 3, I believe it's called.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
The Roku 3 is really nice.
I went with the one that had Ethernet simply because I wanted to connect. I have so much Wi-Fi stuff in my office that I did not want to create another interference.
You mean you didn't go
source?
Go for that one because it was the one you could play Angry Birds on?
Yeah, I was disappointed that you have to actually buy the game. It doesn't come with it. It's just capable of playing it.
Yeah.
But, I went with it because of the Ethernet. It's remarkably small and light, though. It's amazing.
Oh, my God. I got the box for it, and I was like, is this it? Am I missing something?
So I can't remember. Was it on our show that we talked about the VoIP and Magic Jack Plus and Net Talk Duo, the different ones? Didn't we talk about that recently?
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah. Well, I ordered the Net Talk Duo Wi-Fi, and Spencer's holding up the device. Hold that up again.
Yeah. So you see, it's got an HDMI port. It's got a Ethernet port, a power jack, and also an AV out, which is something I think the newer ones are not coming with. I think they've abandoned low resolution as far as coming out with a composite output. So it's just going to be HDMI, at least on the high-end one. And it's also got a USB port on the side. Mm-hmm. So, and think what does it weigh? About maybe 6 or 8 ounces? Sorry, Bruce. Go ahead, please.
No, that's fine. So, I've been experimenting with the Net Talk Duo Wi-Fi. The reason I tried that one, I talked to some friends who have tried Magic Jack Plus, Vonage, different ones, and you had mentioned last week the Uma
box.
Yeah, right. So my experience with the Net Talk Duo Wi-Fi has been pretty interesting. I was able to configure it without any problems. They do have some problems on their website. I do a lot of internet purchases, and I have never, ever, ever had a problem in putting in my name, my billing address, my security code on the back of the card, and the expiration date, and had any problems. But on their site, it would not accept my address, no matter how I tried to configure it. So, but there's a Net Talk app for your phone, Android and iOS. So I can actually make and receive calls on that landline setup back home. But it's interesting. Once you configure it with your computer, then you can take that device, and it comes with a power cable to power. It's a little USB adapter thing, plugs into the wall, and you just plug your phone into it. And as long as it's picking up the Wi-Fi signal, So I didn't have to run, RJ11, phone cable or Ethernet cable, anything else like that. It's working totally over Wi-Fi in the same way that the Roku does. Unless you have do you hook yours up by Ethernet?
The Roku?
Yes.
No, I use mine over Wi-Fi because it's across the room. But I stream. I use the app Plex, which is a home media server, and I stream 1080p video over Wi-Fi without any issues.
Yeah. Yeah, I've become partial to XBMC now as a media center computer. Especially, they have a great version for Raspberry Pi. I have tons of friends that are using XBMC as media center computers now.
Yeah.
And, really enjoying it. There's an XBMC for Android where you can control it remotely. So,
yeah, I set it up on the Raspberry Pi too, and it was just great. But the only issue I had with the Raspberry Pi, since it's such a, I guess you could say, underpowered device, it has an issue with 720p and 1080p video. Sometimes playing it doesn't always play it the best.
Has anybody hacked the Roku device to see what they can do with it? I wonder.
In what aspect? You mean by hack? Like just install like a custom OS on it?
Looked and say, hey, this has got a great processor in it. If we flash some new operating system code in here, we can do X with it because it is in fact something.
I can imagine people have.
It's got a Wi-Fi adapter. It's got a video adapter. It could be used potentially. I just noticed that I forgot that this actually does have a micro SD card slot on it also.
Yeah, it does.
But kind of the way. Anybody remember that very interesting little Cisco network sharing device that they'd come out with a number of years ago? It had 2 USB ports on it and an Ethernet port, and you unfortunately had to use some pretty heavy-duty software to share, like Samba or something like that, to share files across your home network from USB-connected devices. But and it required a client that you had to load. But people were taking that because it was a nice little, very compact microprocessor, and we're loading Linux on it. And then people were running asterisk phone systems on it. It was just this tiny little device that was just intended to be an appliance, a PC appliance, and making it into all kinds of things. So I was just wondering, obviously this is a very powerful device, and if it could be reverse engineered and people could say, hey, I can make this into a little tiny IP telephony server or something.
Yeah, I can imagine people already have.
Yeah, I should just, not that I'm going to do it, but I should take a look. At that price point, people would be using it all kinds of things.
Yeah, so I had my first experience rooting an Android device this week. And, I have to say that it was a little more complicated than I thought it was going to be. And I can see why some people are hesitant to root Android devices, because it's a lot. It's not like, when you jailbreak an iOS device, you plug it into your computer, you open a program, you click jailbreak, and then it's done. It's definitely a lot more confusing.
What happened?
Oh, we decided that this was going to be a short show, so
no, I saw Mike moving, but I didn't
taking
hear.
Off.
I saw Mike's mouth move, but I didn't hear anything.
I don't always say something every time I move my mouth.
Okay.
He was breathing.
But I'm glad you're paying attention.
So everybody should be very excited about this breakthrough in HDTV. The Japanese have perfected a new version of smell-o-vision where they can actually isolate different scents down to different pixels on a screen. How the heck they do that, I don't know. But you can look at a field of flowers and have different flowers on different parts of the screen, and you can get different aromas coming You can so the person who wrote the article said, that's really fun, but just think about how useful it might be with a Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial.
As soon as you said Japanese and talking about this technology, I immediately thought about, they were really famous for all these monster movies, right? And I find it really curious that they are coming out with Jurassic Park 3D coming out in the theaters next month. Really? I think I want to go see it again. I love the movie anyway.
Well, did you see that there's I can't remember what animal it is, but they're actually thinking about trying to bring back an animal that recently went extinct using the same kind of gene manipulation that they use, like the concept that they use in Jurassic Park. I don't remember what the animal is. I have to look it up. It's something.
You got to be careful now because we do have somebody named Gene in our chat. We don't want him to misunderstand when you talk about gene manipulation.
Gene, we're not splicing you, Gene, into separating your chromosomes. So it's
IBM already did it to him.
That's
right. We're cloning him.
Yeah. For the record, I think that revitalizing, bringing back extinct species is a really bad idea.
I agree.
I think that there is a bigger order going on in this universe that some things are best left alone. Absolutely. They might be extinct for a reason.
You got that right.
Okay.
But there are people who feel like, gee, if we can do it, we should try.
And there's some validity to that. I mean, natural curiosity has led to a lot of good things that have benefited society. But, I'm aware of some research that's been done that I'm not even going to tell you about because it will give you nightmares just knowing about it. And it's very difficult to know where to draw the line. And I just don't think it's necessary. I mean, what are you going to say? A dinosaur would have cured cancer, therefore we need to bring back the dinosaurs? I mean, next thing you bring back dinosaurs, next thing you know, they're in office in Washington and charging you money.
All right. Switching gears. T-Mobile, the fourth largest carrier in the U.S., has made sweeping changes to its service, ending both phone subsidies and service contracts. The CEO said, here's the deal. If we suck this month, go somewhere else. If we're good, stay with us. As part of that change, the new base plan will include unlimited access, including voice, text, and data. Data will be restricted to edge speeds after 500 megabytes with no overage costs, but can be upgraded to 2.5 gigabits for $10 or unlimited for $20. I'm not following this. Portable Wi-Fi hotspot usage is also unrestricted for no additional cost. In addition, LTE services just went live in 8 markets. As it already standard practice with T-Mobile, you are free to bring your own device. To keep customers from having to front the full cost of the phone with unsubsidized plan, they will let people pay off phones in installments. They're also getting the iPhone 5 next month for $650. So they did away with minutes and stuff like that and the contracts. Isn't that something?
For $650?
Well, that's if you want to get the iPhone 5, you have to pay. There's no more subsidized phones. So if you want the iPhone 5, you're going to have to pay $650 from them. Or you can bring your own. You can buy one on eBay and bring your own device, and they'll activate it for you.
A lot of people actually buy phones from places other than the carrier. I've never done that.
I know Hannah ruined her Storm. BlackBerry, was it? Storm, whatever. It fell in water. And they wanted something like $600 and some. She ended up buying one for $120 from eBay and took it there, and they just changed the code that goes in it, and everything was back to normal. But what I don't understand is it says as part of that change, the new base plan. Okay, that already says that there are plans. Will include unlimited access, including voice, text, and data. Data will be restricted to edge speeds after 500 megabytes with no overage costs. So it's not unlimited data.
You weren't supposed to ask that question.
Yeah, it's interesting because it says it will include unlimited access, including voice, text, and data. But data will be restricted to edge speeds after 500 megabytes with no overage cost, but can be upgraded to 2.5 for $10 or unlimited for $20. I don't know. It's got to be cheaper than what anybody else is doing right now. So somebody said years ago that talking on a cell phone should not cost anything. It should not be done by the minute, because if you use it for 1 minute or for 2 days, it makes no difference to the carrier.
Well, that's not true.
I don't know. I mean, it seems like it's getting to that point where they say, okay, here, unlimited voice. Talk as much as you want. Oh, I know. They were talking about overseas calls. Should not really cost either, because it's the same. I don't know how the network is laid out, but I don't know.
My guess is that the comment has to do with the pricing model not totally conforming to the cost of providing the service. And my guess is that's probably true based on what we learned about text messaging, that the cell phone companies have something like 20,000% markup on the cost of text messaging.
Yeah, they were paying a penny and charging us 10 or whatever.
Oh, fractions of a penny. It was like they could send like 20,000 of the 10,000 text messages for a penny, and they were charging like $10 a month or $5 a month for 100 or some nonsense.
What else?
I think that's it. See you later.
Here's something interesting. Again, security and stuff. Despite the pervasiveness of law enforcement surveillance of digital communications, the FBI still has a difficult time monitoring Gmail, Google Voice, and Dropbox in real time. But that may change soon, because the Bureau says it has made gaining more powers to wiretap all forms of internet conversation and cloud storage a top priority this year. A 1994 surveillance law called the Communications Assistance for Law Enforcement Act only allowed the government to force internet providers and phone companies to install surveillance equipment within their networks. But it doesn't cover email, cloud services, or online chat providers like Skype. And the guy says that FBI wants the power to mandate real-time surveillance of everything from Dropbox and online games, the chat features in Scrabble, for instance, to Gmail and Google Voice. Those communications are being used for criminal conversations, he said. So you just need to watch what you say everywhere. But that's good in life too, right? Not just even when you talk face to face to somebody, right?
My mouth gets me in trouble so much it's not even worth tracking.
Well,
so I have an interesting story. I was thinking Steve might call in, but he's listening, so I'll go ahead.
Is he?
Apparently, yeah, he's in chat.
Is that our Steve?
It is.
Okay. Why isn't he calling in? I wonder. Okay, go ahead.
And so, as I have reported here previously, I'm a big fan of Lenovo computers. But normally I buy them I'll buy them reconditioned because there's this place over at RTP called IT Exchange that gets, I don't know exactly what their commercial channels are, but they get computers from time to time that are a year old or less. They look like new ones. They're reconditioned. They have when you recondition means they've gone through them, cleaned them up, checked them out, and proved that they work. I've purchased many computers from them over the years. I think it was probably 2 months ago. I don't know if Nick's back, but about 2 months ago, I saw this, what I considered to be an extremely good price for a Lenovo computer on antonline.com, ANTONLINE.com. It was a Lenovo ThinkCenter M92P, which is an i7 quad-core computer tower. It's a model 2992-A5U for those who are keeping track. That looked to me to be a really good buy at $649, I think I paid for it. I purchased it, and it's been sitting over here in the box since I got it. And I finally, a few days ago, opened it up. I've got an XP machine that I need to retire. And so I opened it up. First thing I did was made an image of the hard drive using Image for Linux, made the image to my external USB drive such that if something goes wrong, I can now restore this is a long story, by the way, so if anybody wants to interrupt it anywhere along the way, feel free, because multiple topics are covered here, but I think it's useful information. So anyway, I made the image of the drive, and once that was done, then I booted into the operating system, which gives you this stuff about first-time boot and all that. And everything went fine so far, and did all of the what do you want time zones and all that for Windows 7, which is what it is. Once it was booted, it was time to do the Windows updates. And when I did the Windows updates, it had, 75 or 80 or whatever the number was. And I did it, rebooted, and I said, well, this is good. Then I noticed it still had the same number of updates. I went through and looked at the history and noticed that the updates failed. I said, well, okay, maybe there's a problem here. I started installing them one at a time. They were going in just fine. I did about 10 of them that way. It was a real pain because you have to reboot after every one. I said, well, maybe whatever the problem update was, I got rid of it. So I started doing 2 and 3 at a time. And that went fine for a couple of times. Then all of a sudden it stopped again. That's when I did some research and found that there was a particular update that was problematic for Lenovo computers. It ends in 5.3. I went through the remaining Windows updates to perform, found that exact one, installed it separately, rebooted. After that, everything was just fine. It installed all the updates and everything went just fine. I was glad to have that happen. One of the good things about Lenovo is that they have everything for their computers online. All of the hardware maintenance manuals, the parts lists, everything is there. It's amazing the amount of information you can find on Lenovo's website. Unfortunately, some of their parts lists are not complete. And one of the biggest criticisms that I have of Lenovo is that if you look at what they call an FRU, or a field replaceable unit, it might be 42X1234. Well, the replacement is 42X1235 or 1236. And you can spend all day researching those numbers, and I don't know that you'll ever be able to tell the difference between what they are. It's some sort of internal torture system they have to be able to maintain their part numbers. Well, I found 2 things that I don't like about Lenovo. One I already knew about, and that is that this ThinkCenter tower, to add a second hard drive, requires a proprietary bracket. This bracket actually snaps into the bottom of the case. There's no way to make one separately. You either get that bracket or you have to find another way to mount the hard drive, such as mounting it in the 5 1/4 slot, which is a problem because of the way the toolless case works. I went on Twitter and vented my frustration over not being able to find the part number. Well, strangely enough, Lenovo then replied to me, "What's the problem? Why don't you, what are you trying to do?" Well, I said, "Okay, this is great." I responded with with what I considered the problem, that I could not find the part number for this secondary hard drive bracket. I could not find the part number. I have an old part number that I could not find one anywhere for less than $50 from some recycler, but I knew that Lenovo had to be providing this part. Well, I never heard again from those guys, so when there wasn't an easy fix, I think they sort of blew me off. But what I'm getting to on this story is that I finally opened up the box, and in the bottom, this one already had the bracket in it. It's the first one I've ever seen that already had the bracket in it. So I had to eat a little crow on that one, and was happy to report that this computer was configured exactly the way I wanted it to be. Well, then I started, in the process of doing the research, I found something else about Lenovo that I don't like. And that is that these ThinkCenter computers have a proprietary power supply in them. As you know, the current crop of motherboards use a 20 or 24 pin computer power supply connector. The Molex connectors that plug directly onto the motherboard. Is anybody listening, or am I here by myself?
No, we're listening.
All right. You're familiar with that connector?
Yeah.
Well, Lenovo has a proprietary 14-pin connector. Not only can I not find an aftermarket power supply, I cannot find a power adapter to allow me to use an aftermarket power supply in that computer. What that means is, for good or for bad, if and when I need a replacement power supply for this computer, I'm going to have to buy a Lenovo branded one, which is probably going to be 4 times the price of a normal power supply. I don't like.
Did you look on eBay or
everywhere?
Really?
Everywhere. Even in the Lenovo forum, they're taking hits from people, but unfortunately, even these hits go back over a year, so they're not planning to do anything about it. Now, upon doing some research, I said, well, wait a minute. I've never bought a part from Lenovo. If I needed a part today, how would I go about doing that? And you hear people talking about the warranty and all that, and I said, warranty? You know, I haven't bought a new one. I really haven't thought about the Lenovo warranty. I went to Lenovo's website and found the part on the website where it says, verify your warranty. Okay, I put in my serial number and found out that this computer has a warranty for 3 years. It's a 3 years, apparently no questions asked type warranty. Now, I don't know whether this is where they're going to do telephone troubleshooting or whether they actually send someone to your home or what, but it is a very good 3-year warranty. I looked at the warranty and noticed that it started in September of 2012. It started ticking by. So now I'm mad at Lenovo again. Why should a computer that's been sitting in a warehouse for 5 months use up the warranty time that I'm paying for? I sent an email to Lenovo support saying, this computer, I just got it. Unfortunately, I noticed that the warranty has gone by 6 months. I would like to have that restarted. Within the next day, I got an email back. Please send us your invoice and your serial number, and we will take care of it. I did that, got an email back. It has been re-aged. It now expires in January 2016. I went back to the website, checked it out. Nope, it was not updated on the website. Checked it a few hours later, was not updated on the website. Checked it the next day, was not updated on the website. I said, uh-oh, something's wrong. Here we go again. Lenovo screwed up. I went through the email and noticed that, unfortunately, I mistyped the serial number.
Oh.
So I wrote a very apologetic email back to this lady who had given me her direct email address to do the work. And I said, I'm sorry for the extra work, but unfortunately I did TPV instead of PTV as part of the serial number. What's their fault? They shouldn't use serial numbers for like that for dyslexics.
Right.
And so within a few hours, she said, "Okay, taken care of." And I went and looked in, and they had re-aged it, so I get the full 3 years out of the warranty. They have their service. If you need to call their service number, it is 24/7, 365 for parts, for technical support, for whatever. I mean, that's pretty darn awesome in my book.
Yeah, I tried to talk my wife into a really great buy they had on a Lenovo computer at Best Buy, but it was a 14-inch screen, and she just said it was too small for her eyes. But it would have definitely been my number one choice.
I like them a lot too, but I tell you why they have a proprietary connector on the power supply.
Please.
It's the Chinese Army's surveillance software. Wires.
But I would think that would require more pins instead of fewer pins.
No, it's a special proprietary high-tech interface. It uses less pins.
Yeah.
The more pins are just to make it look like it's really complicated.
That's right. Charge more.
But Mike,
there are some duplicate pins on that connector. But, I mean, bottom line is that
Mike, did you find out how much a power supply would cost you from them?
No, I don't know how to find out unless I call them and ask for parts and give them the part. I mean, I have the part number for the power supply. I found that.
I was just wondering if...
Well, I mean, look, I've got a technical background. I have a degree in electrical engineering. I was a design engineer. It's not exactly hard to figure out how to take a 24-pin Molex connector and to adapt it to a 14-pin connector.
Somebody will come up.
As the power supply has the right voltages and can provide the right amount of power. So I'm not overly intimidated by that. But it would just be nice to be able to go over to Intrex and give them $50 and buy a 500-watt power supply. I suspect, I mean, Lenovo computers are very popular. I suspect at some point someone will come out with a power supply that will make it, you can retrofit it. But if they don't, just having to buy the power supply from them, as long as they don't knock it out of the park, I don't know that that's the end of the world. They can extend the warranty for an additional 2 years, and I tried to find the pricing on it. I could not find the pricing on how to extend. I found out how to upgrade the warranty to in-home service within 1 day, and that was $29 for the entire 3-year period. I don't need that, but if I were a consumer, I would spend the $29. It just there's a lot of the bottom line is there's a lot about this experience that I really like. A lot of things I was pleasantly surprised. The 24/7 service, 24/7 parts, the responsiveness of this very large company, the 3-year warranty. I wasn't even sure when I purchased this computer from A&T Online. I wasn't even sure that they were an authorized Lenovo dealer. Sometimes people buy these things in surplus and clear them out. And there's no way of knowing whether you're going to get your factory warranty on it. Now, having said that, even though I did find this pricing very attractive at A&T Online, I found their customer support non-existent. It's exclusively email. There's no telephone number to call. I asked them if they knew the part number for what happened.
Mike, this is ooh.
What happened?
A big time echo.
Oh.
This is a desktop, right?
It is a desktop.
Yeah, I cannot find anything. You're right.
That's gone away now.
Yeah, the echo is gone.
Well,
that was my fault. I was going to.
It's all right.
When he was talking about the end of the world,
oh,
I had this queued up.
The end of the world as we know it.
Okay, that's.
I'm going to drop and reboot. I just took a whole bunch of drivers off this machine that came with the scanner. I only need the scanner driver. I'm not using any of their software. So I'm going to see if that doesn't help my audio situation.
I don't know who Bubba is, but Bubba, the show's not going dead. The stream is working fine. Might want to reboot.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
All right.
all right.
So I don't know. At this point, I'm going to. Is anybody else in the chat having problem with the stream?
No, it's fine because I'm monitoring it on.
I'm monitoring it here too, and it's fine here.
Yeah.
Now, Bamboozer, there could be a routing issue to Bamboozer. We've run into that from time to time, but the actual server at Bamboozer is streaming fine because Amnon and I are monitoring it, and other people here, Jeff and Andrew, are monitoring it as well.
And I'm actually monitoring it through the T1, which is completely different circuit.
Right.
I'm not monitoring it because I'm on a Core 2 Duo laptop, and I don't have the horsepower here to do that at the same time.
But Miner LA has her laptop computer, and she has trouble streaming the show quite often. And I don't know what else to do about it. After a while, I mean, she's on her third Lenovo laptop, and I don't know if she's on the new one or the old one, but she has to restart things time to time. Part of that is probably because she's on wireless. But if I stream it to any of the other wireless computers here, we don't have a problem. It's got to be operator error.
She should have just bought a Mac.
I'm going to take her this one right now. I'll be right back.
All right.
See here.
No, I always thought it was Minerla, and it's Miner LA.
Miner LA. Minerla.
Minerla.
Yeah. So, let's see. Egypt's naval forces claim they have captured 3 scuba divers who were trying to cut an undersea internet cable in the Mediterranean.
Really?
Colonel Ahmed Muhammad Ali said in a statement that the divers were caught while cutting the undersea cable of Telecom Egypt. Internet services have been disrupted since March 22nd in Egypt. And from the article, the statement was accompanied by a photo showing 3 young men, apparently Egyptian, staring up at the camera in what looked like an inflatable launch. It did not have further details on who they were and why they had wanted to cut the cable.
Kind of somewhat similar to North Korea cutting 3G access to foreigners last week.
Oh, really?
Country. Yeah.
Yeah, something needs to happen with whatchamacallit, satellites, to allow all these people a way to get out.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about satellites for internet access?
Yeah.
If they could only get the ping time down, which is, I mean, I don't know how you physically can get the ping time down, but if you could get the ping time down, satellite internet would be very useful in situations.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for just normal communications, I don't see anything wrong with the way that it is right now.
The only issue that you have right now is you get lots of timeouts because that ping can be 300 or 400 milliseconds.
But texting.
Yeah, no, for sending IMs and stuff. I mean, it's definitely usable.
Right. But I mean, it's right now. Certain countries, certain governments can actually cut the access. I mean, if you go in and the country is getting all their stuff through an undersea cable, and you cut that cable, then there's nothing you can do.
No, there's no internet.
But you can allow some people to get out and still function in the internet world. Yeah, hindered a little, but works. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about solar, where Bosch decided to get out and all this. But listen to this. The Solar Impulse just landed at Moffett Field in Mountain View, California, to announce a journey that will take it from San Francisco to New York without using a single drop of fuel. The Across America tour will kick off this May when founders Bertrand Piccard and Andre Borschberg take off from San Francisco. From there, the plane will visit 4 cities across the states before landing in New York. That's nice. I mean, it's not something. Don't look to be able to board a plane with 200 passengers anytime soon, but this is nice. I don't know what that Solar Impulse looked like. If anybody would bring it up, you can look at it.
They are actually working on hybrid electric engines for jet planes. They've got some promising technology that will,
but not solar. It's not going to be solar.
But it's advances in technology and battery power and battery storage and some other things, as well as kind of like a hybrid engine for a jet. That would be like a hybrid engine for a car.
Yeah.
Where you do run it with a fuel, but there is some type of recovery system and electric motor that I was reading about. It was pretty fascinating. How's my audio now?
Good.
Yep. There's no popping.
Uninstalled. I'm still spiking a lot higher than normal. Skype is using up to almost 48% of resources at times.
It may settle.
Zoom.
But before I was the entire total CPU usage was up to 85 to 90%, and now I'm floating around between 45 and 60.
Well, you can go to antonline.com and get a brand new Lenovo computer with a 3-year warranty. Just don't expect customer service from ANT Online.
I think it's time to build a new.
But it's nice that Lenovo is honoring. You know, like it's. If I was Lenovo, I would say go to whoever you bought it from. Sort of like Microsoft, when you buy a computer and you have a problem with Windows, they will not help you. They would say, go to HP, go to Dell. You know, it's not ours. What do you mean it's not yours? It is yours.
And that's a good point, because when you consider how much the cost of operation of Lenovo is, how much it costs for their employees and all that, if they have to provide much support for a $600 computer, they lose money.
Yeah, but they don't have that many calls, I would bet, because the computers are good. They don't have a lot of problems.
I was going to tell you, I on this trip I bought my Hauppauge tuner, and you can see that I took the cable out of the back of this LG flat screen TV in my motel room, plugged it into the Hauppauge tuner. USB, and I configured it last night for all of the HD channels that are on here, so that I could do some things on my laptop. Sometimes I like to watch a TV in a little window on my laptop while I'm working, and then tonight I'll actually be restreaming live the last episode of the Bible series from the History Channel to a small group of people that I do an online study with on Sunday evenings. And it's really easy with XSplit to bring in my Hauppauge tuner, and it brings in the audio and everything, and stream it to my Bamboozer channel. It's pretty neat. I live stream it. Probably not sure how technically legal it is for me to do that with a small group, but I have a number of people in my group that do not have cable TV and therefore do not have the History Channel. So I stream it to my Bamboozer channel, and during commercial breaks, I come back in with my video and take questions and of course monitor the chat throughout. It's been quite interesting.
So nobody's knocking on the door of your hotel room yet, Bruce? Because
no, not yet.
The theft protection that they built into the cable has not been tripped yet.
No, I don't have the proprietary power supply.
Bruce, there is no way to do a stream on Bamboozer and say this needs to be private while it's live, so only people that have a password can get through?
Well,
I think Ustream does. I think
So does Justin TV.
right. When it's live to anybody who might happen to find it.
Right.
Otherwise, you can make it private afterwards, which I do.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be nice if you could just.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, no matter private or not, they could still pull your Bamboozer channel if they got contact, if copyright stuff, even if it's private or not.
Justin or Ustream could.
Well, I sent them an email.
Why can't
and of course,
Bamboozer pull it?
the parent company is A&E. I did go to their website. I sent them an email requesting some things. I never heard back from them, so I tried.
Yeah.
Is it easier to ask forgiveness than it is to ask permission? Well, I tried permission.
Yeah. What was it?
But anyway, the technology is interesting.
So what does that have to do? Oh, so you are receiving it through the cable. I was going to say, are you streaming it out through the cable, but you're receiving it through the cable. I see.
Correct.
So that adapter allows you to bring in HD?
Yes, it does. Now, you need a little more bandwidth to push that HD signal out, I've discovered.
Because the reason I ask is there are some shows I would like to save that are available, but the only way I have of recording is on the Time Warner box.
Well, you can do it with Windows Media Center. You can set up Windows Media Center to record certain shows, certain days. It's very easy to do.
Where's the tuner?
Well, you have to have a TV tuner.
You have to have a tuner card.
Right. That's what I'm missing, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Mike, the issue there is that some channels are not accessible with the tuner card. Depends on the...
They're encoded.
Yeah. They're encoded.
Did anybody read that article that they were talking about that in 5 years new cars will not have any...
Wait a minute. Nick, were you saying something?
Yeah, I was going to ask, so are the videos on your DVR already?
Yeah.
So then you don't need a TV tuner, you just need a capture card. Because if they're on your DVR, you don't necessarily need a TV tuner to pull it in.
Well, what you're saying is I would play it back in real time from the DVR and capture it.
Yes, that would be the way to do it.
All right. How would I do that, though? I mean, I guess there's an HDMI output. So if I had an HDMI input card, and if it were not encoded or protected, then I could probably, and I would agree that would work.
Yes, it's fine out of the Time Warner box because I've done that for several family members. With
and
Time
what are
Warner
you
boxes.
using to capture?
The AverMedia HD DVR.
Okay. So I probably ought to get one of the Blackmagic cards.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's another $100, and it's the exact same thing. So
is it really?
Oh yeah.
Now, Alan wants to know what the model of that. Okay, there you go. No, it's not. He wants to know what the model of the Hauppauge card is. Andrew had one of those cards he was going to send me, but as usual, he hasn't done it.
Mine is the 950Q. The 950Q.
The AverMedia HD DVR retails for about $89 on Amazon. Sometimes you can get it. When I got mine, I got it for $78 because it was on sale.
Give me the number again.
It's the for which one? The AverMedia card? It's the AverMedia HD DVR.
It's a creative name, isn't it?
Yeah.
111. There's.
It's 88 on Newegg right now.
Speaking of which, I really hate Google Shopping.
There's the Newegg link for it.
Cool.
All right, Mike, acknowledge.
I guess I need to look and see what slots this computer has in it. Another thing I really liked about, and maybe I'm just behind in the times, but another thing I liked about this Lenovo computer is it has 6 USB 3.0 connections.
Which one does? Your new computer?
The new one that I finally took out of the box.
Oh. Yeah, my current computer has 5, I think. 4 or 5.
My Lenovo T420S docking 420S, which is a laptop, only has one. But that's not really a problem. $88. And you're saying, Nick, that this is the same card as the Blackmagic?
I've used both of them, and I cannot see a difference.
And in fact, Eric actually
Really?
solved a problem using his Evermedia that he couldn't solve with his Blackmagic, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, people always talk about, the Blackmagic card is better, yada yada yada, and I use my school has a Blackmagic card. We use it to import video, and I've done side by side tests, and I cannot see $100 difference in the card. And plus, the Evermedia card has 2 simultaneous inputs at the same time.
Really?
Yes, you can do
independently usable.
Yep.
So that's like 2 Blackmagics.
Essentially you can spend $200 and get 4 inputs, or buy 1 Blackmagic card and get 1 input. It will do an HDMI and then either a component, composite, or S-video.
Okay, I've since we started talking about it now, I have a question because I was thinking about all this the other day.
Okay.
If I get a computer and put Blackmagic, Evermedia, whatever, and I want to bring Skype, let's say Mike calls in on Skype to that machine, and I want to bring him into VidBlaster as a capture area.
Yes.
I can't do it because I have to bring the whole screen from that other machine in, not just a portion of it, correct?
You're bringing it in as a camera.
Right, but if I bring it in as a camera, unless I blow you up on the whole screen, you're going to be a tiny bit in the middle of...
Well, do you not have cropping inside of VidBlaster?
Yeah, you can place the camera anywhere you want to.
I understand. But at that point, it doesn't do much good because if I start cropping and stuff, then it takes just as much CPU. I would think.
Resize it?
I would think.
I wouldn't. No, I would say if you're pulling in Mike on another computer, pulling it in through a capture card and cropping, it would use significantly less CPU usage. I
guess I need to try. I've been looking for cheap Blackmagic. I keep looking on eBay for one, but they don't come. But if you're saying that this is the same,
I use it every day.
Okay,
I'll show. It's ridiculous. When I bought this card, some people were hesitant of it, and I was like, $8 or $9. If it doesn't work, I can return
exactly.
It. And I got the card, and I was just like, wow, 2 inputs for $89. You can't beat it.
Very interesting.
And the other, now, have you tried it with VidBlaster, Nick?
No, but Andrew has.
He has used it, but did he have good result with it?
I believe so.
Because he was going to give it to me.
But also, he does also use Blackmagic cards.
I understand, but why one versus the other is what I'm asking. I mean,
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure whether Vance has tried it because there was some issues getting Skype to recognize capture cards, the not being a fully.
On certain versions of Skype, there's issues. So it's more. I think it's a, tinker around with the different versions of Skype to figure it out. The latest version of Skype is broken VVD on Wirecast and VidBlaster, I think. So
yeah,
it's just it's a mess.
You guys, well, I can't tell it. I help people during the week with various internet broadcasting issues, and I actually got a call from a guy who's beta testing VidBlaster 3.
Really?
Yeah.
What did he say anything about it?
I didn't ask him anything about it because I don't know anything about it.
Yeah,
he probably
would. He probably wouldn't.
And I didn't want him to violate any obligations that he had. And it just is what it is.
Yep.
But it's good to know that it's for those who use it that help is on the way.
Hopefully.
Yep.
Hopefully. So yeah, that's good. So, Nick, you didn't put the, is it just the AverMedia card, or they have different ones?
No, that HD DVR is the one that I use.
Bunny is
Plug-in
asking
cord.
about noisy, bad audio. I'm not sure. I hear a little noise in the background coming from somewhere. I don't know.
Probably Nick's ground loop.
It's not me because I've been muted for the last couple minutes.
Nick, again, so you're using HD DVR. Is that a capture card?
Yes, and it's not my ground loop. I just tested it. I had my Skype audio muted. The AverMedia card?
Yeah.
Yes, it's a capture card. It's not a TV tuner. It's a capture card.
Right. Okay. So that's what I need to look for.
Yes.
Okay.
You can't put coaxial cable into it.
No.
HDMI only.
No, HDMI, yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you have like a cable box, you can pull SD out of that.
Not for what I want to use it for.
Yeah, somebody's got a ground loop. I hear it in listening to the feed.
Tom announced that that VidBlaster Guide show is moving from Tuesday to Wednesday.
Yeah. Which I think is a good call on his part.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of other shows on.
The only
Tuesday.
thing, I'll never be able to watch it all the way through because I have a show at 4.
So the changes in VidBlaster are going to be a update to a whole new revision, as in VidBlaster 3.0, rather than.
That's what we're thinking.
And so new price increases.
Nobody knows. But yes, it's getting to the point where one man, one PC. I would think. What are you saying, Mike?
Nothing. Keep going.
Okay.
Guys, if you mute your audio, that does not prove that it's not a ground loop, because ground loop is independent of the audio that you're sending.
What do you mean by muting your audio?
If you mute it at the microphone level.
Oh, no. I meant I was muting it in Skype.
Yeah.
Oh, Andrew says he would not recommend the AverMedia card.
That's right.
Andrew,
and that's
why
he was going to send it to me, and he hasn't done it.
Andrew, can you call in?
I'd like to know why. I mean, if Nick is using it and it's working for him, why not?
I don't know why people are saying it's me. I tested it. I don't think it's me.
AverMedia was at one time considered like a low-end product. But
it doesn't matter. So what if it's a low end?
No, I'm just saying it's dramatically improved the last couple of years. They've gotten a lot better, and they used to be kind of like buying the in-store brand at Tiger Direct kind of a thing.
Look, the capture card that I'm using here. What was it? The Blue Cherry? That's a low-end capture card. 4 channels and all that, but it's doing everything I need to do with cameras. Yeah, it's not HD, but I'm not doing HD.
Well, there's a difference between low end and low quality. So,
well,
I have several Hauppauge capture and tuner cards. I don't use them anymore because I don't have any media PCs set up anymore. The last one I bought was an HD card with a QAM tuner. It worked good, but it just didn't. I had a DVR and it was just too much trouble to show other people how to use it in the house that I said, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yeah, the noise is gone right now. I mean, it's not like it was.
That's the Lenovo military monitoring service.
Yeah.
they can't quite get rid of the hum.
So we
listening.
we start talking about tuners and stuff, and Mike, the article that was there was that cars in 5 years will not have tuners.
Yes, I saw that article.
And I didn't read anything. I didn't read the article. I mean, I can just imagine. But then I also saw some article with the headlines of the implications of not having any more AM and FM, which I have no idea what that was about. I guess I need to read it.
We're talking about freeing up spectrum for other purposes, but
I don't think that's the primary driver. I think they're talking about a societal shift in listening habits. And this is something that, in fact, I asked Nick about. Nick is 16, and I asked him, I said, do your friends listen to the radio? And what did you say, Nick?
They don't, no.
Where do they get their music?
Their iPhones. They listen to stuff on Pandora or Spotify or TuneIn or Stitcher. I mean, there's no why would you listen to radio when you've got, I mean, with Pandora and Spotify, any song that you can think of, you can listen to it whenever. You don't have to wait for it to come on. I mean, you'd be done.
But you're going to miss 30 minutes of commercials per hour.
Yeah, well,
I think you're going to get a howl of protest, though, from people who are saying, I don't have a car that has a tuner. I can't afford it. If the stations were to go away.
I don't think 5 years is a good. I think 10 years.
Longer than that, yeah.
Well, you know what, though, guys? I mean, I have a radio background, and I'm skeptical about a lot of these things, too. When I saw the article, the first thing I thought was, yeah, here's another amateur podcaster trying to scare the heck out of the radio guys. But in reading the article, when you look at it, there are a couple of comments in there that I think do have some degree of credibility. And one that I know to be true, and that is that the car manufacturers are presently in the design cycles for cars that are at least 5 years down the road. They are actively designing cars that are 3 years. I mean, the designs follow the manufacturing implementation. So just because the engineers design a car for 2013, that's not done in 2012. It's probably done in 2010 because now they have to do the tooling, the sourcing, the manufacturing, the training. So by the time the 2013 hits, that design is probably, and I don't know what the number is, Spence, maybe you know it, but from what I hear, it's about 3 years old. Bottom line being that at the meeting rooms in the major car manufacturers, they're deciding in 5 years, do they need to include AM/FM radios in cars? At least some manufacturers are saying no. The people who will be buying the new cars in 5 years are people Nick's age and in his generation, and they're not even going to use the radio. So why should we spend the money if we can reduce the price of the money we spend by $50 and keep that money? Then $50 is a lot of money to a car manufacturer.
I was listening to a tech broadcast about this subject, and they were talking about how each car manufacturer has their own proprietary approach. Some of them are only including certain services. They're not including all services. Everybody has an aux input, so you can plug in your phone, of course. But
I don't.
No, but all cars today have it.
Yeah,
I mean, all new cars have it. So, but the point is that they were saying that sync is very different from the Chrysler version, which is very different from whatever internet features they choose to include. It's not going to be like a PC where you have access to all apps that you want. Like you buy a Blu-ray player today, and it might include Pandora, it might include Netflix, it might include Amazon, but it doesn't have everything. So each of them are picking what they think is a winner. I read about one manufacturer is going to include Pandora and a few other internet services, but that's it.
Hey, would you believe this Dodge Avenger RT had 3 USB ports? I'm not talking about a cigarette lighter. I'm talking about 3 USB ports.
Yep.
One of them right on front of the radio plate. You just flipped up this little thing and boom.
I had a similar experience, Bruce. I rented a Chrysler 300 when I was in Florida, and I was in awe of this vehicle. I mean, it was just the things that it could do, and the technology that was on board, and the ease of use that it had, and the touch screen and GPS and all the other features that were accessible from that screen were amazing.
Yep.
Well, what's interesting, and this is a somewhat political comment, but I when I see cars on the road and I do a second take and I say, wow, that's a nice looking car, I'm sorry to admit that more often than not, it's a Chrysler product. But I will, as far as I know, never say never, but as far as I know, I will never again own a GM or Chrysler product. I don't trust the companies. They cannot manage themselves. They have to require on the government, rely on the government to keep themselves afloat, and I just don't support that.
I agree. I hate to say it, but I used to be a big Chrysler fan. I bought many Chrysler vehicles over the years, and with what happened, I feel the same way.
I mean, if I buy an American car today, it's a Ford product. My car is a Mazda Tribute. It was actually made by Ford, put Mazda's name on it. It has been one of the finest automobiles I have ever owned. And I've owned Mercedes and all the rest.
All right, so now, I mean, who has any idea? The sync in the car, how much does that cost them versus an AM/FM stereo, CD, whatever?
Sync is, I think, the Ford application, right?
Well, I don't know, but what Amnon's asking is I think Amnon is that the cost is probably significant, so the cost savings benefit of reducing the AM/FM may not be the driver that I thought it was.
Right. That I'm just wondering. Yeah, I mean, because they are substituting one piece of equipment with another.
Right. Well, but keep in mind the marketing that they do, and that is that if they paid $50 for it, they charge $500 at the retail price. And I don't recall whether that's an option, but I guarantee you that it's added into the price at some dramatic markup.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Isn't it Ford that actually ships Sync now, even with their Focus?
Well, I mean,
Focus cars.
Yes.
I think the other manufacturers have their own quote unquote version of it.
Every Ford Focus that I've rented over the last year has had Microsoft Sync in it.
But like you said, each manufacturer it's not that they're backing a different standard. Each one is taking has their own idea as to what people want. And they're trying to develop an interface that, like, there's no standard. Yes, Microsoft Sync could be considered a standard, but I think Ford is the only one that does Microsoft Sync. The other cars have their own.
Correct. Dodge uses one. I don't know what it is, but they call it in Dodge Chrysler. It's called Uconnect.
Yeah.
Little U, then capital C Connect. Toyota has a different one. I'll be honest with you. Toyota's UI for pairing up a Bluetooth device is the simplest one to do.
It will join on any device, even as you're driving down the road. The car in the next phone in the next car, just automatically.
Yeah, we had fun with the Waze app coming down because, of course, I wouldn't do it, but I was explaining Waze and how people who use Waze are called Wazers, and you could see little icons of people who were traveling along the same route you are, and you could tap on their icon and you could actually message them back and forth within the Waze app. So it reminded me of the old CB
breaker.
Oh, now it's going to be you bump the other car's bumper and you automatically exchange information.
Yeah, the graphical representation of their location is delayed by, I think, 2 or 3 minutes for security purposes.
Brian, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. I got a couple of questions for you. First of all, I totally agree with you in regards to the the Dodge products that are out there right now. They're just terrible. I have a 2004 Charger, and it was a used police vehicle, and it took 2 days for the master mechanic to find a short in my headlight. One headlight was out, and it took them 9 hours of labor to find the short. So that's just, and I have the Ford Crown Victoria, and that's a tank. I mean, I've got 3 of those, and you just put gas in them, change the oil, and they'll go up to 300,000 or 400,000 miles with no problem at all. It's just terrible how the quality of Dodge has gotten. I mean, the Charger's going through brakes every 3,000 miles. The intake manifold leaks. This is a 2004. The windshield even leaks on it. So definitely stay away from the Dodge products.
I have a question about that, though, Brian. I mean, that in terms of What year is your Charger?
2004.
Okay, so theoretically they could be a lot better now, and you wouldn't know it.
Well, talking to the guys from the sheriff's office that have them, they have the motor in them. Mine doesn't have this motor, but they've got the new motor in them where they, when you get on the freeway, it goes to 6 cylinders instead of 8. These guys are telling me that their motor mounts are loosening up when they're driving them down the freeway. That when they pull them off the road, make a traffic stop, they start overheating, and the back shock mounts are going out on. These are the 2009s.
Oh, wait a minute. So if you get pulled over by a cop in a Chrysler product, just keep talking to him for a while, his car's going to overheat. You can take off and he can't catch you.
That's exactly what's happened in the past. So you got so when you're getting pulled over, with the computers today, they've already got you a ticket, and you just got to sign it. And I just noticed that Geico has got a deal where you just show them your cell phone and type it, and then it gives you your insurance right there, and you don't even have to carry a card anymore. So it's all done within 2 or 3 minutes, and you're on your way with either a $175 ticket up to a $500 ticket.
Wow.
Well, I got a quick question. This is for Amar. I was wondering what his opinion is on these drones that are flying out here, or they're going to be attempting to fly. Since they're radio controlled, what's your opinion on being able to pirate into that system and be able to take control of the drone? Can that happen since it's on a wireless system?
Sure.
Are you asking whether you can hack the control system for a drone?
Yeah.
Ask
the
Iranians. Ask the Iranians.
That's an interesting question, yeah.
I mean, they're talking about all this, here in Seattle and stuff, that they're putting drones up, and they want to be able to, use it for kids that are missing, or somebody that's barricaded into a home or something like that, and they're trying to present this to the public, and I'm thinking that this could be easily pirated into.
Absolutely. I mean, it can. It very much can. If the manufacturers will lose their feeling of nobody can hurt us, then sure it can. They can build all the securities and prevention mechanisms that should have been there. I remember when that drone over Iran went and we lost it. I don't know that it was because we lost it because they got it in there. I think it got out of range for us. What is that thing about going out of range? Going out of range, if you don't get any more signal from your mommy, turn around and start flying back.
Radio control planes do that now with the hobby market. You get out of range, it makes the point that it starts to circle.
Yeah, well, I don't know about circling because circling would have give the enemy a chance to get in. I would say
we're in the middle of a Microsoft
and if it's
update.
And if it's an important enough drone like what this one that they say they got from us, I would say if you don't reestablish connection with the drone within a certain amount of time, blow it up. Blow yourself up because somebody is stealing you. Now, I understand your question about in the city when something like this and somebody breaks in, and I mean a lot of damage can be. It's going to take a lot of work to figure out what's the but what if and build all those mechanisms into it that it's not going to happen. But of course, anything that is wireless you can break into.
Yeah, see, that's what I've been told by obviously reading it online, but talking to the guys that work at the Motorola that work on our radios and things like that. I've asked them, and they said pretty much anything that's wireless can be jammed if you have the right frequencies, and so it's an issue where technology goes so far, and then and then the other part, the bad guys seem to catch up. So now I figured if anybody would know, it would be you in regards to that.
The only reason I'm saying this, and I know about this, is were you around in the days of the CB? Now Bruce was mentioning CBs. Do you remember the CB days?
Oh, big time. Yeah, with linears and CBs and yeah.
Everybody could talk about on a CB until that guy with the 500-watt amplifier in his truck or in his house keys it, and then nobody can do anything anymore.
Listen,
fanning the coals. Remember
the first church I pastored in Meridian, Mississippi. I'll never forget the Sunday. Somebody keyed up a 1,000-watt kicker or whatever, and right in the middle of my sermon over the house PA system was breaker, breaker. No, somebody saying car wash, car wash, car wash.
I mean, that's what would happen. I mean, there's a drone in the sky, and they're talking to it, and you can come up with a transmitter or transceiver that works on really high power, and you steal it away.
Yeah, I happen to have a couple of things that are called, and I purchased them from China, and I got them in the mail, and they're what they're called are frequency jammers, is what it's called, and they jam up FY or F.
You mean when you can't get cell phones in the store?
No, you can't get. I mean, if I am within 40 meters of you, I can turn this on, and if all the way up to 4G, it'll knock your signal out.
Yeah, they use those in restaurants and in some
be careful,
stores.
They are extremely illegal.
Oh, they are absolutely 100% illegal to do that. But go ahead.
I was going to say that they also have a mechanism that for wireless security cameras. When you get in within 30 meters, that they start scrambling the frequency. Yeah. And the thing is that you get these people that put in these high-dollar security systems on these buildings and sell these people these high-quality cameras that are wireless. And if you go online for $69, you can buy this little jamming device. And bang, you're
Absolutely.
Now all of a sudden, So I always push for the deal. You always go hardwire on your cameras for security, no matter how much more it's going to cost. You need to hardwire that system. My next question to you guys is that my BlackBerry. What's the deal with the browser? Why is it limited to what it wants me to see, basically? And is it possible, being with a BlackBerry, can I switch browsers? Can I go to a different browser to go on and go online and do things?
What browsers are you? What version of BlackBerry do you have?
Just a second, Spence. Mike, you were going to say, is there a problem?
I was just going to finish up the comment that with regard to Brian's concerns, he is a security expert, so don't think he's just going off in left field with his comments.
No.
He knows what he's talking about.
The problem is that the manufacturers are not taking all these things into consideration. I mean, you can design any type of like a camera that says, here is you are on such and such frequency, and whatever is going to control you has to give you, just like when you're connecting to a Wi-Fi, you have to have a password. Now, if you get a jam, if you suddenly see a signal that is such and such and such, just stop accepting directions what to do and continue showing what you're showing right now. I mean, this is all simple stuff. This can be programmed into anything. It says if you are receiving a stronger signal, then ignore it. If you're receiving signal that is not exactly in this shape or whatever, just
but you're assuming
freeze
that
your movement.
You're assuming it can listen to two things at once. It can't. So if you are just the same way the linear amplifier worked with CB radio. Right. If your signal is so overwhelming that the signal you were listening to before can't get through,
no, I understand.
It doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying. So you are programming the receiver to say if you get a stronger than what you're supposed to signal, then just freeze in place and don't accept any more directions. Just keep on showing what you're showing.
Right. What you're saying, Amnon, is that you program it such that if there is a loss of signal.
Right. A loss of the original signal. Just for the camera, just keep on showing wherever you are. Of course, now a smart criminal will wait until it pans away and then freezes it there. They'll find out a way. But there are basic things that can be built into these things that will help circumvent situations like that. You know, can you imagine?
If you realized how vulnerable these security systems are, you would be stunned.
Yeah. Now, here is something else. You are walking into a store, and yes, they are illegal, right? Those jammers. Walk into a store. If the phones were programmed to understand the jamming frequency, and you would tell the phone, it would be programmed to start screaming. Just beep as loud as you can if you get that particular signal. People that are in the store don't even know it, but imagine what kind of embarrassment it will be to the store owner when suddenly all these cell phones start screaming around them and people now know that store is doing it.
I think it would be really hard to do that because the jamming doesn't necessarily, all it has to be is a high-powered signal. It could be sending perfectly legitimate data.
Or no data.
Or no data. Or just sending ones and zeros. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're sending some offensive signal. It just means you're overpowering.
The ones that I've seen all allow you to do 911, though, somehow.
Well, what Bunny One is saying in chat is right. And for example, he says that if you make a system that sweeps from 0 to 12 gigahertz, you can jam anything. And he's exactly right. And it only has to be a very high power sine wave. No data, no encoding, no nothing. But having said that, at this point in time, be very clear it's a felony to do it. So don't get anybody get any ideas.
You know, Mike, that makes you kind of, wonder about the issue. And this has been brought up on different occasions where somebody has a security camera set up on their property, but it actually is zooming in on somebody else's private property. You know, that the issues come up to where, the concern is where does voyeurism come in at then? Why is this? Where is this? Information going to? Why does this person on this property have a camera watching somebody else's private property?
I think anything that's accessible from off the property that you can see is not considered private. You can't say that you can't look. You can't look You can't look into my yard as private property if you don't have a barrier.
Amnon can point a camera at his neighbor's yard if he wants to. Is that what you're saying, Brian? Or are you talking about someone in trying to defeat a security system actually substitutes video for the camera? I missed your point.
No. I guess, for instance, I do security for a large storage compound. They have no cameras. The building next door to it has cameras, but those cameras infringe upon the private property of the storage unit. And so the owner is basically being able to sit back on his screen and sit and watch the storage unit, and not, and his property also. And I'm just kind of wondering what the legalities are for him to do that. Can somebody turn around and say, well, I'll just take a laser pointer and point it at the camera, and while he's staring at it, he'll just get my laser pointer back at him.
Right.
But now that just damaged the camera. So is that vandalism?
Well, you've asked about 3 different questions there, but can the next door neighbor point a camera at his property? The answer is yes, because under the law has to be what's called an expectation of privacy. And what that says is that if he has, I'll take this to an extreme so we don't get too deep into it, but let's suppose that your guy who has no cameras does not want what's going on inside his compound to be seen by others externally, and that means that he either has to put a tarp over it, or he has to put a ceiling over it, he has to put a roof, he has to put up walls that you cannot then see inside the compound from the adjacent building. He has to take the steps necessary to protect his privacy. Now, then the issue, and it gets really convoluted, but then the issue becomes, what if he puts up high walls then? Is there an expectation of privacy if someone puts a drone overhead? I'm not so sure the law's answered that question yet. I mean, is it reasonable to expect that you will not have a drone permanently hovering on top of your facility? Who knows? But with regard to pointing a laser at the camera, then I would suggest that if there is no expectation of privacy, then it is perfectly legal to point that camera at his property. If he does something to damage personal property on your neighbor's property, then he's going to be liable for that damage. Now, he could put up a wall and directly in front of that camera so that the guy's sitting there looking at the side of a wall.
If you point a laser at the camera, I don't think you damage it, but the camera will not see a thing.
No, I saw one on Big Bang Theory that if you pointed a laser at it, that it would damage it.
Well, it depends. Now it depends what strength.
That was a
But
joke.
I mean, you can take a handheld light, a flashlight, and point it at a camera at night or during the day.
You have a right.
It'll kill it.
You have a right to point a flashlight on your property any way you choose. So, if somebody were pointing and this is, legally, who knows how this would resolve, but let's suppose that my neighbor had a camera pointing directly at my house. I would absolutely shine a light into that camera, and then I'd let the court work out who was invading whose privacy.
Yeah, and if you shine it directly at the lens, it doesn't matter from what angle even, that camera doesn't see anything.
But that's also assuming that the steps that I take do not damage the property. It may interfere with the operation, but it doesn't damage their property.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I found, doing some research that the laser issue, it does mess around with the autofocus, self-focus that tries to. You've got the right camera. It tries to compensate for the focusing of the laser, and sometimes that after a while doing that, the autofocusing will break in that camera or will not work. That's something that.
Well, let's make up while we're doing things. Let's make this up. Let's assume for the moment that this camera is dual purpose. It is in fact protecting the property of the neighbor as well as observing the property of your guy. And your guy then takes steps like shining a light or something into this camera to cause it to not function correctly. During that time that you're generating the interference, something happens on your neighbor's property and he is not protected against it because the camera didn't work. That would be a complicated legal matter, but in some courtrooms, your guy might be liable for that damage to the other guy's property.
Yeah, and we're forgetting altogether about the installation of these cameras, about making them disguised or putting them in a place where you wouldn't know that they were there, either by their design or by their location.
Hey, Brian, I got a good one for you. How does your guy feel about invasion of privacy by Google Earth?
Well, the guy that I work for, let's put it this way, he lets it be known how private he is because of who he is. He he doesn't have a problem with the cameras being on his property, but he's able to go out a back way where he's not being able to be seen versus the other employees and other people. You know, you're going to be seen by the camera, but he has ways of just going out the back door. I'm not sure about the Google Earth issue. I mean, just the other day I just checked on his name and Googled his name and popped up that he owns 2,500 pieces of property in one county. And so, you know, hey, you can't be that private if I'm able to pop up that information just right online. So,
yeah, I'm going to be stopping by to see somebody that I hang out with regularly in the Tech and Coffee Hangout on Google Plus, who lives in the Gainesville, Florida area, and she's big on privacy. And just like I put in the chat, she emailed Google and asked them to gray out or blur the image of her residence in Street View and Google Earth, and they promptly did it.
Well, the Hollywood people do that all the time.
Yeah.
Barbara Streisand tried to sue a guy who was filming the coastline of California for ecological reasons. He wanted to preserve an image so they could have a benchmark for erosion and other things that were happening to the coastline. Well, because her lawn chairs were visible in the pictures that he published, she sued him.
Hey,
she didn't win, but she sued him.
Don't make me play "It's the End of the World and We Know It Again," please. Yeah. Do not attempt to adjust your set. No, that's The Outer Limits.
Close enough.
I have a lot of cameras outside, and they're all wired. And I had the neighbors across the street actually come and ask me if I would leave one, sort of like so it'll show their property, because they figured if something happens during the day, they can come and ask me to show them who went in and whatever.
Sure.
So that's the other side of it.
Well, my feeling is that cameras, in a way, are I guess you call them a charlatan. That, you know, a lot of these people are out trying to sell these cameras that, you know, well, you've got cameras, we're going to catch the bad guy. That's not true at all. You're going to basically see the bad guy break into your property. You may get a good look at him, or if he's got a cap on or a hood on, as you know, Mike, a reasonable doubt. You can't say that that's that person on my property that I can point him out right here. Chances are that, you know, you've got that expensive system up, and you should, you know, a lot of people I feel should go back to the basics. You know, good audible alarm calls the police. The strobe lights go off. That's a good alarm. You know, these people that keep, you know, like for instance, I'm dealing with a gentleman right now. I've been broken into like 3 times, Brian, and every time I've got 18 cameras on my property now, and I still get broken into about 3 or 4 times a week. You know, the cameras aren't there. You know, if there's an arm that comes out of the camera and reaches down and holds onto somebody, then basically the camera's done its job. You know, and when I explained to the guy, you know, fix the hole in the fence, get your LED lighting up, get a shaker alarm on your fence. When somebody tries to go to your fence or shakes your fence, it sets the alarm off audibly, and it calls the alarm company, and the alarm companies call the police, or they call us, and we'll come out and we'll check it out. But, you know, it's just that, you know, listening to these guys that go out and try to sell these security systems, they're just making it, you know, like it's a cure-all. It's going to take care of your whole problem at all. And you get banks that get broken into and robbed every day, and they've got the best surveillance equipment money can buy.
As the saying goes, when seconds count, police are minutes away.
And buy a Rottweiler.
Hey, Spence.
Get a gun.
Hey, Spence.
A Rottweiler.
Spence.
Yes.
Don't look back.
No, I was saying I heard this funny noise behind me. I was just,
you know, and I just got to stay. You got to love programs like XSplit that allow you to do all these things.
All right, so Brian, we interrupted you when you were asking something about the blueberry. Blackberry, not blueberry.
Yeah, Blackberry. Yeah, that's okay. I was just, the question was about, I've got the regular generic browser for Blackberry, and I can't, when I leave my house and go out to do my work, and I want to listen to your program or listen to what you have, I'm going on your is it 12 something, whatever that program is, where I can listen online or listen on my cell phone. my BlackBerry will not allow me. It says access restricted is what my browser comes up with when I go to click on listening to your want to listen to your program if I'm on my celly or out on the road.
What version BlackBerry do you have?
The Torch, not the new one, but the next one below that. And
part of the problem is that a lot of the BlackBerry stuff, especially the browser, is proprietary. And everything at one point, I'm not sure if it's so true anymore, but it used to be everything was formatted through BlackBerry. It went through their server. All of your web, everything had to go through their formatting to get to your device. So I don't know that there's a generic browser available for your model.
There is a Stitcher Radio app available for the BlackBerry OS 4.5 or later. That'd be the best way to listen to this show and other good podcast content on a BlackBerry.
Have you tried that, Brian? I thought we talked about Stitcher before.
Yeah, I did. Stitcher works fine. But I wasn't able to get your programs or find it through Stitcher. But I use Intune also. Do you guys use that at all?
TuneIn.
Or TuneIn? Yeah, sorry about that. A little dyslexic there.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Well, you have to search for Computers 2K now on Stitcher because it is recorded as well as live. When I looked for it, it was a little difficult to find, too, but you're looking for the live version of Computers 2K now. And unless Amnon starts messing with it, it works great.
With what?
Okay.
Well, like when you change out computers and don't set the levels correctly and all that.
I was not aware that TuneIn is actually working. I could never find it.
Not TuneIn, Stitcher.
Oh, Stitcher, yeah. So are you saying that you cannot get to the G12?
No, I cannot. Not on my BlackBerry. If I'm at home with the Wi-Fi signal, sure, no problem at all. But when I go out
can you go to any of the other pages of Computers 2K Now, or?
I think it's a Flash issue, Amnon.
Yeah, it could be.
We don't do it Flash.
Sure you do. Boozer's Flash.
No, I'm talking about audio only.
I think that's
Flash too.
No.
Opera, Mini, or Bolt browsers. That's two that I remember. I haven't been a BlackBerry user for several years, but I remember using both Bolt and Opera. They were some of the first ones that came out for BlackBerry. Now, I don't know if they support Flash. There's also one called UC Browser and Uzard Browser.
I mean, the G12, to go to G12, has nothing to do with any audio or anything. Because if you go to G12.com, it's just a web page that from there you have to choose, okay, I want to listen on my phone. So if it's not even letting you go to G12.com, it's a different story.
It's letting me go there, and then when I click to listen through my phone, it says rejected.
Okay.
Unsupported format or something.
Yeah, exactly. And
there are a couple of links there that you can click on. Be sure to try each one.
Okay.
They're different formats, aren't they, Amnon?
They're not supposed to be different formats. It's supposed to be
I thought
just
there was one for Android and another one for iPhone.
No. There's one for media player and one for iPhone and Android. Doesn't matter.
Smartphones.
I mean, the program itself could do different formats going out, but none of them worked except the MP3.
Well, maybe with the new BlackBerry that's coming up, I'm going to be waiting for the actual keypad to come back before I buy the.
Let me ask you something, Brian. Were you ever able to listen on G12?
Yes, sir. Yeah, when Rick's House Radio you guys first put him on there, the first Sunday that you guys did that, I was able to pick you guys up with no problem at all, and it went for a week fine. And then the following week, boom, it was I was getting rejected.
You're talking like 2 years ago?
No, I'm talking when you guys started, Mike, when you started doing Rick's House Radio.
What's that?
Rick out.
About
what,
4 months ago?
Yeah.
Okay, so no, that wouldn't be it. I was wondering because when was it? 3-4 weeks ago when the laptop died?
No, that's not what he's talking about. He's been having a problem since. In fact, we don't even have any way for him to pick up Rick's. He used to be a regular caller to Rick's house, and he's abandoned us now, and because of the BlackBerry. But I'm sitting here now looking at the live streaming page, the Broadwave streaming server. Mm-hmm. One of the links, the iPhone, Android, iPad link, is an MP3 stream. And I look down the one below that, and the media player audio is an ASX stream. And those, not every computer will be able to read both of those. They're not the same stream, but I'm surprised that a BlackBerry can't read one or the other, particularly the MP3 stream.
The first one should be able to be picked up. The first stream, the Android, that one runs on the Roku, so I would assume that a BlackBerry should be able to pick it up.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
You might want to consider backing up your BlackBerry and doing a reinstall on the
That's
OS.
what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. Because it can get corrupted. And when was the last time you updated it? Are you current with the operating system?
Yeah, when I get the updates, they come to my BlackBerry, it tells me to update. Yeah, I update, but I haven't reformatted or done anything like that besides just the thing that's taking the battery out and then putting it back in.
Well, it's been so long since I've touched a BlackBerry. Does it actually do over-the-air updates now? Because it used to be it had to do it USB connected. There was no way to do it any other way.
My wife plugs it into the computer. Is that what you mean? And then you go to the BlackBerry site and download the update.
Mm-hmm. Well, this first link, Brian, this MP3 stream, I cannot imagine there being a device that can't read that MP3 stream. Now, I didn't say there isn't one. I just said I can't imagine there being one because that's web audio in its purest form. I mean, Amnon even has it directed to the server with a static IP address and direct port addressing, meaning that virtually if the server's up, you can get to it. And when you get to it, it's an industry standard MP3 stream, which, again, I cannot imagine there being any device that could not play that stream. Would you agree with that, Nick?
I mean, no modern device is not going to be able to play it.
Yeah, speaking of smartphones, I mean, Bunny says something about smartphones aren't so smart. You can, the Galaxy S3 is the number one selling smartphone this past year, and it's fixing to be replaced by the Galaxy S4, which reportedly is going to cost about $250. But you can go to wireless.amazon.com right now, and you can buy a Galaxy S3 for $9.99. And a lot of the software functionality on the S4 is going to be available on the S3, except those that require the hardware of the S4. A Galaxy S3 for $9.99 is really great and would allow you to do so much more than a BlackBerry. But I understand some people are partial to BlackBerries.
Well, unless you have a corporate entity that's controlling your BlackBerry.
Right, and then, of course, Samsung has Knox, which can accomplish the same thing. And so...
Brian?
Yeah.
Can you hear any MP3s from anywhere? See, I'm wondering if they are blocking MP3s.
It might be. Is it a business-controlled phone?
Well, it's my business. So.
He owns the business.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, if you're not blocking MP3s, then it should be able to play them. And like Mike said, virtually any device out there right now is going to play it.
Who's the carrier?
AT&T.
AT&T?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I would actually go to an AT&T store, and it's a roll of the dice that you find anyone who knows what he's talking about. But if you could luck into some guru over there and show them the problem, I'm beginning to think, after looking at that link, which I had not done since I mentioned it to you previously, but looking at that raw MP3 stream, I think it has to be something on your phone that's either misconfigured or corrupt that's causing you not to be able to hear it, because that stream, I mean, there's nothing any purer than that. There's nothing that's any more universal than what Amnon has done on that stream.
Another simple thing you could try would be to try either Opera or Bolt or one of the other browsers that are available for BlackBerry. And just to give it a try.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Will that slow my phone down at all if I download another browser?
Only if you run it. Because that pretty much stays. That's doesn't sit in memory unless you're running it.
And so now that you're going down this road, you're talking. Do you need a virus protector for your phone? For your BlackBerry?
No, I wouldn't think so.
Okay, because you were saying that have something corrupt.
But it's something you could try it, and just if it worked and you knew, you could always delete it again and just re-image your BlackBerry just to clean, because you knew that it was something to do with the BlackBerry browser. Okay. It's just a way of verifying it, or dividing the problem down to what you think it might be.
All right, guys. I appreciate your chat with me.
Sure.
Good talking with you. And great pictures, Martin. I like all your stuff that your military stuff that you've got there. I'm waiting for you to roll out maybe a Black Hawk helicopter next. On your list.
May the drone be with you.
We're letting Bunny One handle all the black helicopters
as we continue to drone.
All right, Brian.
Take care, Brian.
Take care.
Hey, I'm going to be taking off at 12, and I'd like to go do the specials if I may.
I thought you said there were no specials.
Oh, I got them online. There was nothing in the paper.
Oh.
The paper had no retail ads today. Everything was all available.
That's why we didn't ask you to do it. That's why I didn't ask you to do it. I thought you said
Oh, well.
So go for it.
What we have here is a failure to communicate. All right. Starting at Staples, they've got a 15.6-inch Samsung dual-core AMD laptop, $349, $100 off. They've got a 17.3-inch HP i3 with wait a minute. It's a HP i3 touchscreen starting at $599. i5 touchscreen starting at $649. 15.6-inch Toshiba i7, 8 gig of memory, 750 gig hard drive, $649. That's $120 off. They've got a 21.5-inch LED monitor for $109, a Samsung 24-inch for $149. That's a clearance item. They've got the Netgear N300 router for $44, the N600 router for $79. They've got the Western Digital Network drive, 2 terabytes for $149, 3 terabytes for $179, 4 terabytes, which is a duo, 2 drives, make up that 4 terabytes, and I believe it also supports RAID, $349. USB flash drives, 8 gig for $599, 16 gig for $999, 32 gig for $1999. They have a Brother wireless mono laser printer for $99. I've got a Brother multifunction laser printer scanner fax copier for $99, but it's a refurb. But I actually have the one that they refurbed. It's a very good device, especially for small office for copying and doing faxing. HP OfficeJet printer scanner fax copier, $99. That's at Staples. At Office Max, they've got a 64 gig flash drive, $29.99. That's $40 off the regular price. Brother USB mono laser. This is the one that has to be connected directly to the PC. $69, $50 off. Epson Expression wireless inkjet printer scanner copier, $79, $20 off. Canon wireless inkjet printer copier scanner with 2-sided printing for $99, save $50. They have a 22-inch LED monitor for $109, 21.5-inch for $89. I don't know why that's so much cheaper for just a half an inch less. That's $20 off. They've got a 15.6-inch Asus i5 Ultrabook, $499. That's $100 off. Now I mentioned earlier how there are a bunch of Windows 7 machines out there, which was unusual, but Office Max has more than 4 available laptops. They've got a 14-inch Toshiba i3 Ultrabook with Windows 7 for $429. That's $320 off. They've got a 15.6-inch Toshiba i7 with 8 gig, 750 gig hard drive, Windows 7 for $559. That's $240 off. So they've got some good deals if you're still looking for a Windows 7 machine. They've also got the 7-inch Lenovo 16 gig Idea Tab. This is an Android tablet, $79. That's $120 off. That's at Office Max. Office Depot, 15.6-inch Toshiba i3, $79. $379. That's 6 gig of memory and 640 gig hard drive. Brother wireless printer scanner fax copier inkjet for $69. Save $30. They've got a Brother wired printer scanner copier laser with duplex for $129, which is probably the best price for that type of device that's out there today that I could find. $50 off regular price. They've got a 11.6-inch Asus i3 touchscreen laptop, $499. That's $50 off. They've got a Lenovo 23-inch all-in-one dual-core Pentium PC. This is a 23-inch display that contains the PC inside the body of the display. 4 gig of memory, 1 terabyte hard drive, $479. That's $70 off. And you can also get a wireless touchpad, Lenovo touchpad, to go with that to take advantage of the Windows 8 touch feature. It's $49. They've also got a Western Digital N600 dual band router for $49. That's at Office Depot. At Tiger Direct, 20-inch LED monitor for $89. A 18.5-inch monitor for $79, a 23-inch LED monitor for $129. They've got a Seagate 2 terabyte, 3.5-inch hard drive, $79 with a mail-in rebate. This is not a green drive. They've got a Netgear Powerline adapter kit. This is the kind where you can send your Ethernet across your home electrical wiring. It's $30. It's a refurb, but for $30, good deal. USB flash, 8 gig for $499, 16 gig for $999, 64 gig for $29.99. They've got a USB Wi-Fi adapter. This could be used to connect a device, a media device that has no wireless or has a wireless option that's too expensive. This is a USB Wi-Fi adapter, $39. Save $5. Make sure that the drivers do support this device. They've got a 5-port D-Link gig adapter for $29. Save $10. When I say gig adapter, I'm sorry, I mean gig switch. Boy, I tell you, writing this stuff, when I'm doing this stuff and I'm doing it off the internet, not doing it off the paper, I always make mistakes. 5-port D-Link gigabit switch, $29, save $10. 8-port gigabit switch for $39, save $20. Samsung 250 gig, 2.5-inch solid-state drive for $189. That's at Tiger Direct. And finally, a couple of items at Best Buy. They've got a 20-inch LED monitor for $89, a 21.5-inch for $119. They've got a 500 meg theoretical capability Powerline adapter kit for $49. Same as the Netgear. This is where you send Ethernet across your home power. Also, Netgear Universal Wi-Fi range extender for $69. It might work in some cases, not always, but could fix a problem that you have. You've got a relatively new router that you don't want to replace. You want to extend the range in your home. These are useful devices, but should be used with caution. They don't fix every situation. And that's it at Best Buy.
Very, very, very nice. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Dr. John was asking about cell phone repair, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before, and I am not. I said his daughter broke hers. I don't know which phones they are, but I became aware of a company actually here in the Raleigh area. They're actually on John Humphrey's Wind Suite. Well, I don't even know what that is, but anyway, they're here in Raleigh. They offer repairs apparently for all sorts of phones, and particularly iPhones, iPads. They're on Facebook as Triangle Cellular Repair, and I'll pass this information along for anyone who's interested. I don't know if these are good prices or bad prices. I suspect that once you've done a few of these repairs, it's probably pretty easy to do it right. And they are currently offering glass LCD repair for iPhones, iPhone 4 for $69.99, iPhone 4S $79.99. As soon as they post prices, they get a lot of questions from people about how much they charge for various things. I think it's interesting. A guy says, do you repair the Motorola Razr? And this one says, we can fix your Razr for $219. We can repair your iPad 4th generation for $59.99. So obviously they have some things that they're extremely competitive over and some that are probably not worth fixing. Then people want to argue, why does the 4S cost more to repair? Isn't it the same screen as the iPhone 4? And then he says, although the LCD glass are the same, the frame is different and the part cost is subsequently for the iPhone 4S. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask. And then he says, what about the Samsung Galaxy Note 2? It says the Note 2 glass LCD is $280. They are currently charging $150 to repair the iPad 2. Let's see here. I don't even, something there he wrote. So anyway, this is called Triangle Cellular Repair, and that's also their website, trianglecellularrepair.com. Don't know anything about them. Don't know if their prices are competitive. Don't know if they're good, bad, or indifferent. But the reason I was looking them up is that my iPhone 4 is now 2.5 years old. The battery is starting to show its age, and I thought about having them to put a new battery in it. Now, I recall that being something like $50, which you can buy a battery. What is it spent? Something like $10?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, there are companies that you can buy the batteries for these things, glass. They will even sell you the tools. There are YouTube videos to watch how to do it. If you're, comfortable with it, a lot of these repairs can be made by yourself.
But if it's something like this, they use if you look at the bottom of the iPhone, they have a torque screwdriver that is almost too small to even see the head. It's just ridiculously small. And whereas in many of these things, I would attempt my own repair for $50. I'm probably not even going to bother to try to replace the battery and take a chance on screwing the phone up.
Right. Spence, you leaving?
Yeah, I'm out of here. Yep.
Have a good one. Take care.
Have a great
brush your
day.
hair.
Happy Easter.
Yeah, happy Easter. Have a good week, everybody, and stay safe.
You're special.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It says here we can jailbreak or factory unlock any iPhone for $20. This includes your iPhone 2G, 3G, 3GS, 4, 4S, and iPhone 5.
Now that is a scam.
Why is it a scam?
Because for them to charge you $20 for that, I think is a ripoff.
Why? Now tell me why, because I'm interested in hearing why you say that.
Because they could have that. You could walk in that store. They could jailbreak that thing in under 5 minutes.
I would pay them $20 to do it before I would waste my time learning how to do it.
Learning? There's no learning.
Well, Nick, everybody doesn't know you. I mean, and I'm not being funny. I'm serious. I mean, if I wanted to know how to do this, I would call you and you'd talk me through it, and that would be fine. But I'm telling you that we can't take our own personal experiences and assume that everybody else out there has the same level of geekiness or technical expertise or willingness to gamble that we do. No, I don't have any problem with these guys charging $20 for stopping what they're doing, taking the phone, hooking up a cable, jailbreaking it, and handing it back to them in 5 minutes.
If it's out of contract, if it's an out of contract phone, then you can get the carrier to do it. But if it's an in contract,
that's unlocking. That's not jailbreaking. That's two different things.
Well, that's what he said. He was talking about jailbreak or unlock. And
right,
unlocking
or
is the key.
yeah.
If they were charging $50, I would agree it was a scam.
Right.
But $20, I wouldn't balk with that. There are some serious things. I mean, I rooted my Samsung Galaxy S3 and nearly got into trouble because I used the wrong ROM for it. And so, $20 with the safety that would come for that, to me, would be reasonable.
So let's look at it this way, Nick. Let's assume that they charge $5 to jailbreak it and $15 for insurance, that if anything goes wrong, they have to fix it.
Yes, I would do that.
Okay.
I think that would be more reasonable.
Well, that's what let's assume that's what it is.
Yeah, I think, because I mean, I've had phones that have locked up. I mean, jailbreaking, this is as simple as it is, and yes, right. I'm a geek, and that stuff comes to me. But you download a piece of software, the software says plug in your iPhone now, hold the power button, it says, all right, jailbreak's complete. You can now unplug your phone. That's as simple as it is. I mean,
now, check this out. We are currently paying $200 for all functional AT&T iPhone 4, $300 for iPhone 4S, and $440 for iPhone 5.
Ask them if they're taking 3GSs.
What do you mean paying?
If you want to get rid of it, they'll buy it from you.
Yeah. That's a lot more than AT&T will give you for it, or Gazelle will give you for it by at least $30 or $40.
Well, think about that for a minute. I mean, what would it cost for me to go get a 5 now? $200?
Yeah.
So I can upgrade for free.
Yeah. How much did they say? How much did they say they're taking for the 4?
I have $200.
Wow.
Well, then they turn around and sell it as an unlocked phone and make money.
That's okay.
Right.
Or take it apart and make a lot more money
on the parts. Yeah, that's a good point.
Is that on their Facebook page, Mike?
Yes, it is.
What's their Facebook page?
Search for Triangle Cellular Repair.
Okay.
But let me also say, Nick, that that was a February 15th post. I'm assuming it's still valid. But let me also say that, in my opinion, there are probably hundreds of companies all over the country doing the same thing these guys are doing.
And you mean maybe they're not in business anymore?
No, I'm thinking that there's probably not that much special about what they're doing.
Yeah, I understand.
And based on the traffic these guys have on their page, I suspect they're doing pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree.
This is a good thing. Go like the page. It's for the kinds of things that we talk about on this show, you might want to go into Facebook and like that page because I think the comments are worth reading the page.
We need to get them to come on the show.
I agree.
Yep.
In fact, this number that they have posted here, this telephone number that they have posted, is actually a cell phone because they said you can call us or text us at this number.
It could also be Google Voice.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, if they're in the cell phone business, the number is 919-600, which I like that, 3927.
What would you do if it was the Computers 2K Now number?
Say again?
What if they were giving out the Computers 2K Now number to people? They're like, hey, this guy's great with support.
Yeah,
I'm not following.
I didn't either.
What do you mean?
I was just making a joke. Never mind.
You mean Mike shouldn't have given out the number?
No, I was saying like they were giving out, like, since it started with 919 and that's your area code, if they were giving out. 919-518-9773. Now we completely confused everybody about these numbers. Yeah. Oh, boy.
This is interesting reading here. I spent some time on it a few months ago. And
all right, now that it's after 12, I've got another article here that I was going to...
Uh-oh.
Jack Mirkinson reports that Pew Research Center's annual State of the Media study found that since 2007, CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC have all cut back sharply on the amount of actual reporting found on their airwaves. Cheaper, more provocative debate or interview segments have largely filled the void. Pew found that Fox News spent 55% of the time on opinions, on opinion and 45% of the time on reporting. Critics of that figure would likely contend that the network's straight news reporting tilts conservative. But it is true that Fox News has more shows that feature reporting packages than MSNBC does. According to Pew, MSNBC made the key decision to reprogram itself in primetime as a liberal counterweight to the Fox News channel's conservative nighttime lineup. The new MSNBC strategy and lineup were accompanied by a substantial cut in interview time and sharply increased air times devoted to edited packages. The Pew Research examination of programming in December 2012 found MSNBC by far the most opinionated of the three networks, with nearly 90% of NBC's primetime coverage coming in the form of opinion or commentary. Mike?
Yes.
Yeah?
Well, I don't watch MSNBC, NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN. So really what they do, I don't care.
Yeah, but it's every now and then I want to watch. I mean, if I'm watching Fox, it's preaching to the choir.
Not necessarily.
To me.
Not necessarily.
Well, kind of.
Why? Do you agree with
everything? No, absolutely not.
No. Hang on. What's the guy's name, that meathead that went into the vault in Chicago?
I don't know.
Oh, you do. Geraldo.
Yeah.
You agree with him?
No, not on every. Okay. On some things.
He's on Fox.
But that's
Shepard
not my
Smith.
point. My point is what I was going to say is I'd like to go to the other networks and watch and find out what they have to say about the stories that are trending. And I find out that after like 10, 15 minutes, saying, what in the world am I doing here?
You know what, though?
So I think they're all come up. I think my understanding is they all try to talk to their own listeners, not to change other people's opinion, but to reinforce the people that come there were already kind of like, okay, now go ahead. Go for it.
No, I mean, you totally agree. You certainly want to play to your audience.
I would think that you would want to also educate others that are not your regular audience to gain them. But if CNN, if you go and listen, or MSNBC is really the worst. I can't stay there for more than a few minutes. Be a little bit less hardlined and explain what you want to say. And I may stay there to say, well, maybe they have a point. Let me keep on listening. But the smirks and the put downs and all that, this I can't stand.
Amnon, I had, and I will not tell all this story here, but I had within the last 30 days, and stop me if I've already told this because I don't want you to connect with who this was, but I had a long discussion with someone who is very prominent in local Raleigh media. Have I talked about this?
No.
I can be a little bit specific without saying who it was because it's a large company, but it is someone who's very influential with local television.
Okay.
And during this conversation, I made it very clear that I felt like the direction their media outlets had taken was despicable, that they had insulted a very large part of their audience by their hard turn to the left, that I was no longer a consumer of their content, that I was not trying to be rude. I was simply trying to plant a bug in his ear that whenever he went into the next meeting that or had to make a decision, mad cow, had to make a decision that they would at least have heard the other side of the story. He was very professional and polite, and he thanked me for my time. But what I learned during that meeting is that these guys, honest to goodness, think that they are being unbiased. They have deluded themselves to the point that they think that they are being unbiased in their presentation. And there's no fixing that. I mean, why would someone fix something who's not broken? It's hopeless. And my comment to him was, look, why would you want your outlets to be the same as every other outlet? I mean, there's no difference between you, CNN, MSNBC, right, any of the local television stations, most of the local. Why would you want to be just another echo in the crowd? Why wouldn't you want to stand out? But instead, you choose to go out and offend at least 40 or 50% of your audience with your nonsense. Oh, no, we don't do that. You know what? He said to me, he said, you know what? He said, this is kind of funny. And I said, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but why did you say that? He said, because people jump on me all the time about us being too conservative.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you're going to do what you choose to do and works best for you, but whenever you find out I'm right and you're wrong, it's going to be too late for you. But to his credit, he did listen. I mean, he did engage in the conversation. He didn't just say that I was a kook and walk off, which most of these guys do.
I don't know. It seems like, I mean, you know, and David is saying, is that too bad that they're like that? And he says, no, because people go to internet sources instead of watching cable and broadcast news. I would love to be able to tune in to a news show that will give me all the news of the day and that I could say, good news. I can trust this.
Well, just take the commentary out of it. Just report it the way it is. Don't give, like you say, the eye rolls and the snickers and the smirks and adding the word controversial before everything that's said.
Well, Charles saying there that was the 70s, in the 70s. Yeah, when you go to internet sources, you also have to go to multiple sites, because it seems like every site will be angled one way or another. It's not copyrighted by the cable or networks. It seems like the program director or whoever is taking the network or the station or the site or whatever in their own direction.
Yeah, I've never heard of Turks before.
Me neither.
But you know what? It's interesting, and it's something that I saw this past week. Do you know what the networks feel most threatened by in the long term at this moment in time?
No.
Twitter.
But again, you have to stay stuck to it.
Well, for most people, that's not a problem.
Well,
wait, did you say media or companies?
The media, the networks are concerned over Twitter, because Twitter, you learn about things happening in this country quicker on Twitter than you ever will by waiting for the networks to get out there to get the video, to get the uplink set up, to get it reported back.
Of course, yeah.
And Charles is asking whether Twitter killed Google Reader. Someone has said that very same thing. I don't know.
I don't believe that's true.
I think there's something to be said for that. I mean, I think Google, if you look at the way they're going lately, they're just going for the money. I think the freebies at Google are going to continue to become less and less available.
No, but I think we're not talking about Google Reader now, but I think that the reason that Google Reader is dying is like you just said, Mike, they're in it for the money. I mean, there's no monetization behind a Google Reader. Not at all.
I know of. I never used it. I mean, I played with it, but I never used it.
See, for me, I use it for my show every week. That's how I get my show notes. I go on there a few times a day, and I just kind of bookmark stories. And then, when Friday comes along, I go in there and I set it all up. But, I mean, I could never use Twitter to replace doing show notes. I mean, I follow the same, 5 different gaming news sources, and I mean they're all going to be tweeting the same thing every 5 seconds. I mean it's useless to me.
Bunny's saying Google is shot. Bruce is saying Google is far from shot. I'm interested, Bunny, why would you say Google is shot? I mean, I know you make extremist comments all the time, and this is one of those, but I would be interested in actually hearing your reasoning behind making that statement. I mean, they're shot in my mind in a lot of ways. I certainly don't have the respect for them that I used to have, but they're still number one. I mean, if you go to look at their Alexa ranking, they're still number one in Alexa, and that's pretty good whenever you're number one in the world. Charles says Feedly can be set up to replace Google Reader pretty well.
That's what I'm using now. But my question with this is, since Feedly uses your Google account, I'm not sure what it's going to be when Google Reader actually closes, because that's currently what I'm using. But if it's still going to be pulling things from Google Reader when Google Reader shuts down, I'm not sure what's going to happen with Feedly. So I think that we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
But, I mean, all the Reader does is just provide you with a convenience. I mean, you can still go do everything manually, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to continue to pull from Google Reader. I think what it does, Nick, is it pulls all your current RSS feeds that you have with Google Reader before it dies and just imports them all. I don't think it's going to – it'll continue. Feedly will pull from the RSS feed just like Google Reader does or any other news reader.
See, I thought the same thing, but – every single time I go to Feedly and I try to sign in, it signs in through my Google account.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. A single sign-in that Google announced recently is a good thing. I'd rather sign in with my Google account than sign in with Facebook or Twitter. It's just another option for a sign-in.
Yeah, but that's what's kind of scaring me is that I don't have a site login. It's doing its authentication through Google. So
Google would have to totally go away for that sign-in not to work anymore. So
and then they'd switch to something else.
Yeah. My main problem with some of this Google stuff is they've just come out recently with Google Keep, and so this is kind of
Google what?
Google Keep. It's their really low down, stripped down version of something to compete with Evernote or programs like that. So my question, tongue in cheek, is how long will Google keep? So do I want to use Google Keep, and then find out later on they'll say, well, we don't want that anymore, and then I would lose all those notes and stuff that I had posted to Google Keep. Also, there's no integration currently with Google Drive, although you can go to keep.google.drive to do stuff with Keep, but when I do things in Keep, they don't automatically show up on my Google Drive account. That's supposed to happen soon, but I still like Evernote.
Yeah, I use Evernote for my show notes, and I mean, I love it. And I mean, there's so many different applications for it, and it just works on everything.
I have tried to use Evernote literally 5 times. I even paid $30 for a book on how to use it, and I just cannot master it. I feel like Amnon with Wirecast.
What part of it don't you understand? I guess
what I wanted, my objective for using Evernote was to have a service that when I went to a web page, such as I'm sitting here now looking at the Newegg page on that you were talking about for the Aver Media card.
Yeah,
I want to save that page. I want to put it away instead of saving the link and then coming back and the page now is not the same thing or page not found. It would be nice to say clip this page.
Yeah, there's an app for that. There's an extension for that in Chrome.
Yeah, that's you need the extension.
And I have had that and I've done that, but every time I go back and look at it, it never does a good job of fully capturing the page, particularly when you got pages with all the crap on it that these pages have.
I'm not sure.
According to PC World, today is World Backup Day.
It is, yeah. That's exciting, right?
Interesting. First time I hear about this. Everybody go back up. Eep, eep, eep. That's nice.
Amna, do you use any online backup services?
Yeah.
What do you use?
Carbonite.
And you like it?
It works. I mean, it's six of one, a dozen of the other. I mean, it's if I had the time to sit down and compare pricing, and something was a lot different, I probably would do. But it's fine. It works. When I need something, I can go get it. So, yes, I like it because it's peace of mind.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just clipped the C2K page that we're on right now, and so I'm not sure what kind of you're reporting, but what I see that is interesting is what it clipped was the entire chat session from the chat, from the beginning of the show when it started until the most recent entry.
Really?
Yes. Yeah,
That's
I mean it's going to.
cool.
It's for you guys' sake who are on the Skype call. This will mess up things just for a brief bit, but I will share my screen just so the guys on the Skype call can see it. But this is the Evernote clip. This is the preview of what it did. So it's the entire chat from the very beginning, everything. So I'm going to go back to stop sharing the screen so we can make the show go back to normal.
See, Bruce just jammed the show.
Jam, yeah. at the 8 gigahertz frequency.
That's a felony.
I believe my school has a cell phone blocker.
It's a federal law that says they can't have one.
I thoroughly believe that they do.
I found this interesting when I was, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and it was probably more of a problem with me not being able to hold the phone steady. But when I was at Best Buy, I wanted to use Amazon Price Checker to do some price checking and also to find out some information. It's amazing. You go to Staples, you pull out the little card with a price on it, turn it over to the back. It tells you a lot of stuff about that laptop, including what it weighs. And my wife wants to know what they weigh. Can't do that at Best Buy. So I brought up the Amazon Price Checker app and went to scan the barcode, and I tried 4 times, and I could not scan it in Best Buy. You don't imagine they're doing anything with that, or was it just the shakiness of my hand?
It could be that their barcodes cannot be read.
That's what I'm thinking. They're using an internal stocking barcode instead of the manufacturer's barcode.
That would be the way to do it. I mean, without blocking cell phones, I mean, you can still check prices, but you can't just scan the barcode.
So you'd have to
they
turn
have the right to do that.
Laptop over to find a barcode then?
Maybe. The other thing, there is some service out there that you can actually take a picture of the product with your phone and it will look it up.
Right. The problem,
I don't know how useful that would be with a ThinkPad computer since 1,000 of them look the same. But
and the processors can be different, other internals. Like my wife thinks, she sent me a URL a little while ago because we discovered, and we should have checked this out, so buyer beware, it's our fault. But on this Asus laptop that we bought, I just figured surely this thing would have a CD, DVD drive in it, but it does not. It's a 15.6-inch laptop, and it has no CD-ROM in it. And so she has to have that. So she's going to be taking it back, and she's concerned about a restocking fee. I said, well, look, if you exchange it, they're not going to charge you a restocking fee.
Yeah, a lot of them don't have a CD, and I see more that don't have Ethernet.
I mean, I can understand an ultra-portable, but a 15.6-inch, I mean, this thing is huge. It's got a full number pad to the right on the keyboard and no CD-ROM.
Yeah, it concerns me a little bit, computers that don't have Ethernet ports.
The MacBook Air doesn't have an Ethernet port.
Yeah, that bothers me. I think it should. I think all computers should have an Ethernet port, no matter how ultra-portable it is. I mean,
right.
Even if they have a proprietary connector that requires an adapter, I think they ought to have them.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't tell you the amount of times that I've gone to hotels and the Wi-Fi is just jammed up. But you get that solid, you just plug in that cable and it's ridiculously fast. I mean, wireless just gets so jammed.
Yeah, it's one of the things I like here at the Fairfield Inn Marriott here in Melbourne, Florida, is there's a Ethernet cable. It had its own little retractor. It sits right on the desk. You just plug it right in.
Yeah.
I do have a USB to Ethernet converter that I use with the Mac. That's why
you have to
two-time
have that.
No, it's normally wireless.
No, I'm saying if you want to use Ethernet, you have to have that.
Yeah. In fact, the one I bought is interesting. It's an Ethernet. The device is an Ethernet adapter, but it also has 3 additional USB ports on it, so you get your port back plus 2 more.
Nice.
But I'd rather have an Ethernet port on it.
Yeah, and the Ethernet ports don't take up that much room.
Or cost that much.
I mean, I can see a DVD drive, but not an Ethernet port. Especially with, the limitations of Wi-Fi.
Yeah, my wife I took the Mac down there a while ago to let her watch the show because it keeps freezing up on her Lenovo computer, and it froze up on the Mac.
That's unheard of.
I'm just telling you. Steve says the Lenovo laptop has only one audio socket. Well, that's the same nonsense that Apple does, where they use that tip ring sleeve connector, where you have mono audio input, stereo output. It is downward compatible with the standard tip ring sleeve headphone, but it uses the headphone with the earphones with the built-in microphone, like the Apple nonsense. Those are pretty useless for audio purposes. You will need to get a USB sound card for it.
Yeah. Now, the Lenovo computer, is that an Ultrabook?
The one he got, he posted the model number up here somewhere a while ago, G something.
If it's an Ultrabook, I can see not needing 2 audio ports.
My T420S has the same port.
It only has one.
That's it now.
That's sad. I mean, I think on a netbook you don't. I mean, you're not gonna be using a netbook for your main machine for your internet broadcast or podcast or whatever else. But I think if you Bruce, does the computer that you got for your wife, does that have a headphone and an audio import?
It has one of the combination jacks, like a Mac would have.
See, I don't like that. That's not good.
It does have an Ethernet port. It's got a little thing on the side where you just pop it up with your fingernail and you can pop the Ethernet.
That's the way of the world, guys. That's what they're going to because it saves them a jack. And if Apple can do it, anybody can do it.
Well, and it's of course it's simple. For most people, you just take your same wired headset that you use on your phone and plug it into your laptop, and it works. Obviously, the quality on the mic is crappy, but
then why are they charging $40 for the headphones if the mic is crappy?
Because they can.
Because they can. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm using a little Skull Candy headset. This is a little case that I carry it in. When we were having problems with echo, I said, well, I'll just use a headset just to make sure it's not me. So, and it's also pretty nice. I mean, this is the ATR 2100 that I travel with. I have the AT 2005 USB at home. But I'm now using, I'm getting my Skype audio for the show through the ATR 2100. And when before I was playing that clip, we had all this echo because I was using before my Skype audio out of the USB codec for the Behringer mixer that I've got here. Mm-hmm. So, but now I can go ahead and put some audio through without no.
Bruce, are you able to hear yourself through the headphones on the ATR 2100?
Yes, that's what I'm doing right now.
Now you can hear your own voice coming back with no latency.
That's correct.
I've tried it on 2 mics and I can't get it to work.
Really? It works on mine.
It doesn't work on my 2005 or 2100.
It's very faint, but it works.
Yeah, I can't hear it.
Okay, it's definitely not loud, but no, you can definitely hear that you're coming back to yourself.
Now, are you using the mic XLR at the time?
No.
Or USB at the time?
Yeah, USB only.
Hmm.
Now,
and the volume control doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it does. Are you sure you don't have a faulty microphone? It does for me.
Well, if I do, I have two of them.
I don't know.
This has been a common complaint with the microphone. I mean, I don't use them that way, but I was curious because people had complained to me that they could not hear themselves. It's called zero latency monitoring. What it actually is an audio feedback internal to the microphone before it goes into the USB converter. But I can't get it to work. I've got a couple of new ones over here. I'll go open a new one out of the box and see if it's anything different about that. Which, I mean, is fine. I mean, the sound card in it works fine. If I play back, if I were using one now for the show and listening back through headphones, through the headphone port on the microphone, I would be able to hear the return audio from Skype. That wouldn't be a problem. But I would not hear my voice coming back through, and the level control on the microphone does not make any difference. I can hold it either side, and it makes no difference at all.
That's very weird.
Well, especially for two microphones.
Yeah.
And I know that it's not a rare problem, but if both of you are having it work, then I'll try it again. I even have what is the one that we think is the same microphone, the Samson Q2U.
Is that it? I think it's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I bought one of those used, and the headphone jack was laying loose inside the microphone, which I didn't care. I mean, I bought it for XLR anyway, but
yeah,
it works fine for USB as well. The USB works, but I took it apart and did some little experimentation on it.
So Steve must be doing some really serious configuring on this laptop. I thought he would be done by now and he could call in. We can hear his dulcet tones.
Or not. Or Nick's favorite song.
Padam. I'm trying to emulate Google Hangouts here with the video, but I'm not doing a good job.
Yeah, I have...
Have each of their mic, make sure I'm on switches.
I have been told that I have to get my button gear here too shortly, so...
Yeah, I'm waiting for the knock on the door from the pizza guy. See, I've got this graphic here just so I could...
now, from whom did you order that pizza?
Pizza Hut is who I order from down here.
Mm-hmm. And is that, do you actually put that in the blender and juice it?
No, I do not. I do not. I will need to deliver, you have to get a large. Domino's will deliver a medium, but Pizza Hut only will deliver a large. So I'll have half of it for lunch, and I'll have the other half for supper later on this evening.
Bruce is going to eat a whole pizza.
Sure. over a period of 8 hours, yeah.
Who was that comedian who said he ordered a pizza? He told him to cut it into 6 slices instead of 8, that he really wasn't hungry enough to eat 8 slices yet.
Yeah. I think, it's a beautiful day here. I think I'm going to, also, I'm right next to a movie theater, nice 12-screen stadium seating thing. I don't know if I'll take in a movie this evening or take a ride down to the beach, go to the Starbucks.
I was going to ask you, Bruce, whenever you drove, which route did you take to get down there? Through Charlotte?
No, I didn't go through Charlotte. I came...
right through Raleigh, probably.
Yeah, down 74 and a couple other little back roads till I got over to 95.
You came down 95?
Mm-hmm.
And didn't stop here.
Gee, thanks.
I had to meet the other folks down here for supper at 6:30. We went to Sunny's Barbecue. Oh, I love Sunny's. Wish they'd open up some franchises in Virginia, but had some great pulled pork last night. But I did think of you when I saw the sign about Raleigh. I thought, I know some folks who live here.
I wasn't here yesterday.
Huh?
All right, well.
Steve's trying to get his computer configured before tea time. That's very important. His priorities are in the right place.
Yes, we cannot interfere with tea time.
Yeah. There's some really great local coffee houses, but they're probably closed since it's Easter Sunday. But they got good Wi-Fi. There's one called the House of Joe, another one called
the House of Yoda?
House of Joe. And the other one called the Sun Shop.
Kosher pork? I don't think so.
It's kosher for Passover.
Oh.
Pork.
This is the first time it's been the first time in a long time that I've done this show remote. Normally I'm not down here on a Sunday.
And it was, your connection is great.
That's what I was going to say. Your internet has been excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, it's the same way every time I'm here. It's on Bright House cable network, as is the TV. And it's been rock solid through the Ethernet cable. Yeah. So never had a problem here.
Good.
Hey, talking about, just smartphones and stuff they can do, and I know you're an attorney. We're having I can't get into detail for obvious reasons, but we're having some interesting, threatening comments from my daughter's ex. And, it's interesting, like, talk about Evernote. There was a rather... Anyway, there was a phone message left on his mom's phone, who are the grandparents that my granddaughter is staying with this week and having a great time. And if it ever came down to an issue of trial or, that type of shenanigans, his mom and dad would testify on behalf of my daughter. But
wow.
Anyway, I was able to take the Evernote app, and you can record a meeting as well. And she played back the message on her cell phone. I recorded it in Evernote, and then I went into Evernote and I copy pasted some emails that have been transcribing back and forth into the Evernote, and then shared it with him by email, so he can go in and listen to the audio and see the email copy in there. Of course, I could easily forward the emails as well. The Evernote recording is in some kind of an interesting format. That's proprietary. Obviously, I could play it back into Audacity and change the codec and stuff like that and make it an MP3. But this is the codec ends. It's .amr.
Mm-hmm.
.amr.
That is Olympus or somebody. I think I forget who it is. I've seen that before.
Mm-hmm. But see, here's the note. It just I named it after him. So and so's call.
Right.
And it's got the audio clip on it, and you've got a share button.
Yeah,
so
make sure that you save all of that in its most original form, because anytime you start touching evidence, you compromise the integrity of that evidence.
Yeah. Another program that's interesting on Android is called Sanity, and I know that every state has different laws regarding recording calls, but Sanity, along with other things, blocking calls, announcing callers on your phone, that sort of thing, can automatically record the calls, save them in one of three formats. I'm choosing to save an MPEG-4. And there's like a 3-second delay before the recording starts. Some states, both parties have to agree. Other states, it's one party, that sort of thing. But, and there could be a possibility I would be meeting an individual this week, and I have an app where I could just have my phone sitting on a desk and, just recording the information. So I've been spending some time looking up the laws in the various states where I have been traveling as far as recording calls.
Right. And again, it all goes to what the state has interpreted to be your expectation to privacy. Mm-hmm. As far as I'm concerned, if you want to confront me I'm going to do anything I can to protect myself, and if it's recording or whatever, I'll take my hit. But as far as I'm concerned, if you're standing in front of me yelling at me, you have no expectation that I'm going to preserve your privacy. In fact, quite candidly, you have no expectation I'm going to preserve your ability to breathe.
Yeah, Bunny, every state has different things as far as whether a recording is admissible as evidence. So while your statement would be true in some states, it is not true in all states.
Bunny says if you record a call without everyone's permission, the recording is not admissible as evidence. That's not true in every state. There are some states that are one-party states, which means that only one party to the telephone call has to know that the call is being made. North Carolina, for example, is a one-party state.
So if I have a phone call with you, I can record
anybody you want.
Yeah.
There's actually a website that shows which states are what.
Do you still have to play a beep or something so the other?
Nope.
Interesting.
If I can find that site, I'll post it. But even Wikipedia has an article on that. Telephone recording laws govern civilian recording of telephone conversations. One party versus two party states. Let's see. 12 states currently require that all parties consent to the recording. These states are California, Connecticut, Florida, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Montana, Nevada, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Washington. All other states and the District of Columbia require that only one party consent. Illinois courts have ruled that eavesdropping only applies to conversations.
Hold on, be right back.
Okay.
His pizza is here. Would not have been able to hear, therefore effective making one-party consent. So you just do your homework depending on what you're going to do, because it really makes no sense to gather the evidence if it's not going to be usable.
Right.
But North Carolina is a permissive state with regard to recording phone calls. Now, having said that, recording a phone call is not the same as permission to broadcast a call, because if I call Amnon to speak to him personally and he puts me over the internet, then that is more than likely exceeding the consent that I have granted to him. He has consent to communicate with me. Hello. But all that being said,
you're okay.
All that being said, in at one point it got really hairy with radio stations, and that's when they had the requirement for the beepers and all that stuff. But then the FCC finally said that if the person calling in your radio show had an expectation that they were going to be put on the air, then they don't have a claim that you put them on the air without their permission. And what that essentially said is that if someone calls a radio talk show, they're going to have trouble claiming that they did not give that network or radio station permission to put their phone call on the air.
I would just say the Eagle has landed.
Oh, boy, look at that. Oh.
Yeah.
But, Mike, you were saying that you need to do your homework and find out if your state is like this or like that, because it's a shame to gather all the information, then it's not admissible in court.
Mm-hmm.
But wouldn't it be better to go ahead and record it? And even if it's not permissible in court, you let your attorney listen to it, and they can maybe work. I mean, they would have a different direction to work things.
Even Steve's comment is really huge, and I appreciate two things. One, Mike, you finding out I'm in Florida right now, so I have to be careful because it's this two-party state. So whatever I record here, being able to transcribe it and say, this is the conversation I had, this is what was said,
Well,
that's a good
I mean,
point.
guys, you want to get real technical here, and boy, I'm speaking off the cuff, so I know that this what I'm saying will be out there forever. So I'm just giving instant reaction to this, but keep in mind that let's just assume, and I don't know if this is the way the court would decide, but let's just assume that you illegally recorded a phone call and then transcribed it. Now you get on the stand and the lawyer says, you have some pretty detailed information here. Did you record this conversation and transcribe it, or did you have a really good memory? keep in mind that if you tell a lie at that point, that you're committing perjury, which is a criminal act. So at that point, you have to decide whether to tell the truth. If you tell the truth and say, well, I recorded it and then transcribed it, now that evidence is tainted because it's what's called fruit of the poison tree, and that is that you can't take an illegal act and turn it into legal evidence. It's a broad statement, but that's what that means. So, even then, I think the best way to collect evidence is to do your homework, know what's legal, know what's not legal, do it the legal way, and then nail the sucker. Mm-hmm. I mean, the best way to win is with the best evidence and the best case. And, when you start talking about messing with family members, I mean, people who do things like that are really stupid because some of us can make some really dumb decisions along the way when we get emotionally involved in these things.
Oh, yeah. I've created some of those mental snowballs over the past couple of nights.
Yeah, well, if you need any help, I know some boys up in New Jersey. I'm kidding.
Vin and Louie.
Sort of.
Well.
All right. Yeah, you don't want it to get cold. Absolutely. No. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess we're ready to hang it up, too. It's almost 1 o'clock.
We have exceeded our noon objective.
Nick, thanks for being part of the crew today.
Thanks for having me on.
Anybody wants to say anything else before I read the closing words?
Not me.
Okay.
Not I.
Good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thank you for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And while you're at it, like us on Facebook. Click the button at the lower left. Tonight at 8 o'clock, we're going to have Carrie's Psychic Cafe. Carrie will be entertaining you with answering your questions and readings 8 till 9 on Nissan Communications. Tomorrow morning, we're probably not going to have Debbie because it's the last day of Passover, but who knows? And don't forget that VidBlaster guy switched days to Wednesday at 3 o'clock instead of Tuesday. So it's Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Happy Easter and happy Passover, everybody. Bye-bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Sundays 9 a.m. till noon. Carrie's Psychic Cafe with Carrie Silkowski, Sundays 8 till 9 p.m. Health Inn with Debbie Bruck, Mondays 11 a.m. till noon. Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Mondays 8 till 9 p.m. One Chic Mama with Mary Michelle, Wednesdays 4 till 5 p.m. Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, Wednesdays 9 till 10 p.m. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by ThatVidBlasterGuy.com, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.